Hello and welcome to the Schooner Pod the weekend spread. We never know what to call it. I'm Bob. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we've got Jamison Maxwell, the captain, Boatin Blake. And folks, we are here to do what is one of our favorite. These are one of our favorite shows every single year. It is the 5th annual March Madness bracket show. If you are a longtime listener or a first-time listener, first off, if you're a long-time listener, you already know we're about to go like 3 hours, folks. This is going to be a grind. This is going to be a long show. So buckle up, folks. So quick little rundown before we dive into this. All three of us, we're picking a bracket together. We're going to combine our three noggins together from the most ball knowers to the let's just say less ball knowers, such as myself. We're going to put it together and hopefully create the best bracket possible. There will be disagreements. There might be some fights. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But it's going to be a good time. So just quick before we dive in, Blake, how we feel about the field?
After kind of all the turmoil yesterday on how this was seeded and chosen, and kind of once that anger got out of my system, it usually takes about 24 hours. I'm excited. It's so good to have that bracket in your hands, to have something that you get to analyze for days straight, and you just have to sit there with your own thoughts, your own mind, looking at that, saying, am I going to change it? Am I not? Am I going to trust my gut? Am I going to trust the brain? It's the best thing ever. We rarely get a sporting event, maybe like the Super Bowl, but that matters so much that we can analyze so much to come up to it, and then it just all starts happening. All starts to unravel. It unravels in the first 2-3 hours. It's why this is the best postseason in sports.
Man, I love this. And Blake and I were kind of talking about this beforehand. Be a one bracket person. Don't fill out 10 brackets. It feels so much better whenever your one team or your one upset hits, whenever it's a one singular bracket. So if you're already out there and you've already made 5 brackets, go delete 4 of those, please.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than like having one bracket you really like, your main bracket, and then the other one gets hot, and you need to celebrate what you got. If you hit a big upset, you hit it on the main one. You don't need. We're a no hedging podcast, and don't hedge.
That is baloney. Blake is the biggest hedger I've ever met in my life.
Nope. Ball not knower take right there. Man, ball not knower.
People are gonna get tired of hearing this podcast.
Well, it's ironic because now we are literally making multiple. This guarantees that we both have a bracket, because our own bracket will be going up against both our own brackets. Our joint bracket will be competing against everybody's in the Schooner Pod Bracket Challenge. The link is in the description, both on YouTube and via podcast. So make sure to sign up there. Just hop on in. It'll be a good time. Still no idea what I'll do with the prize because I just don't know yet. Blake, by the way, as we know, you won Bowl Mania. I don't know. I forgot to confront you on this one. Our pal Lord King Big Nuts used his winnings from second place to give a donation to Wounded Warrior Foundation. What are you using your funds on, Blake?
I need to come up with something good. I'm thinking charitable cause. Maybe it's more dealing with not like NIL, but maybe against one of my rivals. I might have to figure something out. Maybe in the San Diego City area that we can build up that filth that is that city. But we can put it towards a good cause. I think we should. I had totally forgotten about that money until you said it now. So it's better used elsewhere.
Okay. That sounds good. We'll figure it out.
I totally forgot about the bowl pickup.
Which is fair. It's been a while. We'll figure out some sort of prize for this. I don't know. But anyways, enough chit chat. Let's dive into it. Starting with the East bracket.
One sec, Bobby. I say we start off you can go first, and then I can go, and then Blake can go first. And so to make sure that we don't have someone who's constantly in the middle or the person that's constantly being the decider at the end. Just basic
kind of
rules.
like snake it. Like
yes,
snake
exactly.
it a little bit.
And if people haven't figured it out, 3 of us are making picks. So if there is 2 picks for one team, 1 pick for the other, the 2-pick team advances. And that's going to be the way that we figure out our bracket.
Yeah. Last year, we got San Diego State all the way to the Elite Eight against the wishes of one Boatin Blake. Something that actually turned out to be quite a ball knower take. In fact, we actually stopped
Broken
too
clock
early.
right twice a day. Twice a day.
It was right 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like we
had a feeling about that team. And that wasn't Bobby and I just saying like, you know what, let's troll Blake. No, we had a feeling. You could see it. See it.
I'm glad this year that people are going to overreact to that bummy squad. They're going to This is when the profits start raking in this year.
Look, we don't have to wait too long to get to them, so we'll get to them coming up very soon here in the East Regional. Starting out with the number 1 seeded UConn Huskies and the 16th seeded Stetson. Blake, as you are, just your video's on top, so I'll let you go first here. Who do you got? It's an easy UConn, right?
It is an easy UConn. Stetson, first time in the tournament. Congratulations. They can run with the best of them in their conference, but not at UConn's level. I saw in KenPom, they're top 100, granted they're 100th, but in offense. So that gives me something. 342nd on defense. That's horrible against a UConn team that can score like no other. So I think this one's open and shut. UConn.
I'm sad Ty wasn't able to make it here because I'm sure he would have had a fire Stetson Bennett joke just ready to go on the first single go. But yeah, Stetson has no shot here. UConn and the guys from Stores got this one.
I will not stand for this being a 2 to 3 minute conversation on UConn stuff. please move forward with UConn and quit with this.
All right, next up, the FAU Owls, Final Four, a fellow Final Four team. Taking on the Northwestern Wildcats. I'll kick us off here because I'm up next. I feel like a lot of people, have been kind of, fawning over FAU. I feel like they were overseeded a little bit. Give me Northwestern.
Let me tell you something. The darling of one of my favorite all tournament. I'm going to just restart that. This is a bad start to the podcast. One of my darlings of the tournament. Blake knows him. Bowie. I love Bowie. Give me Bowie. Northwestern, FAU, like you said, they've had a lot of flops this season. Like, they have a good win versus Arizona, but for the most part, like 18 seems a little bit much. Give me Bowie.
Yeah, these are the problems with the very senior laden team that returns after a good March Madness run, especially in the mid-major ranks. They weren't FAU was good last year, but they weren't beating every single opponent they played in non-conference and put the world on notice. They just did it in a 2-week span. They have a lot of good guys on there. John L. Davis is great. They got Big Vlad in the middle, but it's just been a little underwhelming. It's like anytime they played an elite caliber team, I think of an Illinois, they've lost bad. South Florida, they couldn't handle them. Seemed to struggle in conference. Couldn't get past Temple, which I'm so upset Temple did not get into the tournament. They're being accused of match fixing. And the moment they get accused, they turn on the light switch and almost win their conference title. Makes me sad, but Bowie, electric guard play in March. That's what you always want from a team. Northwestern has that. I think FAU, everybody's looking for that round of 32 matchup between UConn and FAU. I just don't think we get it. I think the March Madness gods deny us of it.
All right, Jamison, we're moving on, picking Northwestern. All right, I'm going to switch it up because I don't want to announce everyone. Jamison, kick us off. Who's our next matchup?
So we're already here, Blake. It's San Diego State, the 5 seed, versus UAB. And ever since last year, I've really kept a close eye on San Diego State this year. And let me tell you something. I think they're extremely overrated. I really do. I really do. I really, really do. The thing is, I think Jaden Ledee has got a broke jump shot. It looks ugly. And I think he just overextends himself sometimes. I feel like he could get himself in this kind of ball hog kind of corner that could really screw over the San Diego State team, Blake. But I think San Diego State advances. Give me San Diego State.
No.
Okay. Are we going to renew the Malort bet? Are we going to renew the Malort bet, Blake?
No, because I'm actually picking UAB in my real bracket.
See, yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind
of. You have to ride. I'll do the Malort bet if you have to ride with them. So, like, if San Diego State loses, you got to take a Malort shot.
Okay, yeah, no, that was part of the original Malort.
Oh, it was? Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I can't even remember last year. There was too many to count. It felt like one wouldn't have mattered at the end.
Well, no,
I can't bet with the San Diego State team. I just don't think that they're going to do much. I don't believe too much in UAB. UAB doesn't get me up and excited. As a 12 seed, I feel like there's 13, 14 seeds that I get more excited about than UAB.
They were, talk about bad seeding. This is one of those cases.
And I'm just really disappointed because I had pegged San Diego State as an upset first round this whole time. And out of principle, I still feel like I'm just going to do it. But just UAB, just looking at their resume and just look at their players, they don't have like the guy. They're kind of just like everyone's,
they need Jelly Walker back.
Exactly.
Jelly Walker.
Yeah. And so like looking at this, they just look like they're a team that I just don't see the formula for them to win. This would be just me doing a hater pick against San Diego State, which I will probably end up doing in my bracket just because I want more upsets. But San Diego State just doesn't get me excited at all this year. They've got a good defense, but I really worry about this offense. So I'm gonna pick San Diego State for the focus of this bracket.
I guess the only thing I wish was the San Diego City team was higher because I wanted an even more bummy program to knock them off in the first round. Think of it, the last 2 tournament games that they would have had, embarrassed in the national championship, got wiped off the floor. The easiest bet I put on my life, UConn, with the spread, UConn money line. Oh my God, wiped them. Yes, Jamison?
Yeah, I'm changing my pick to UAB. I picked them in my bracket. I'm going to continue to pick what I picked in my bracket.
Oh, yes! Oh, yes! So I can say it here and say it now. This bum team led behind Jaden Ledee, a former TCU player, absolutely going to the hellish side, going straight to hell, down to San Diego City, trying to lead them anywhere. They're going to get embarrassed. They're going to get embarrassed by UAB. This team plays slow. They play disjointed. They can't run away from teams. They are the most... I tell people, they ask me, why do you hate them? Just watch them play for 5 minutes. It's so boring. They are a defensive style of team that doesn't play that good of defense. They just slow the ball down. They just try to muck things up. They try to foul. They try to be dirty. They don't try to play the game the right way by putting the ball in the hoop. No, they want to bring you down to their level. It was always the Blazers, Bobby. It was always the Blazers. UAB is going to destroy them. And for the second time within a calendar year in March Madness, San Diego City wiped out, embarrassed on national TV, can't show them anymore. They're gonna have to pull it, Bobby. They're gonna have to pull it by halftime.
Okay, you're forgetting the entire, run to the national championship there, which is hilarious. As a TCU fan, you would know that the journey kind of matters.
Nope.
Look,
not that journey, just BS, just getting a whole bunch of fodder on the way there, not actually having to play a good team to save their life. Creighton should have beaten them. Creighton had it, but those refs, we know people are fixing games like I just mentioned with Temple. We know there was something going on there. I've seen the tapes, I've seen the documents. They fouled Creighton there at the end. Should have been 2 shots, got the dub.
Down goes San Diego State in the Schooner Pod bracket.
Yeah, that's fair. Blake, I'm still down to do a one game mano a mano.
No, bet. The run.
I don't have them going that far. Because like I said with FAU, these teams that go on hot runs one year never seem to follow it up the next. I don't think they will. But just out of principle, I'm picking San Diego State, and we'll do a mano a mano Malort bet. But yeah, I think that seems fair.
Okay,
if that's fair with you.
Yep, that's fine with me. I want to find a way to make more stakes. I'm gonna figure it out though. I'll be brainstorming over here.
Oh, right. Bobby, yeah, it's the Blazers.
I was seeing if no one would notice.
Nothing could go wrong here with me joining Blake on the UAB side. Nothing could go wrong.
Wait, Jamison, do you want to be on the side of the Malort bet? Or are you?
No,
are you
I genuinely am picking UAB in my bracket. I'm going to not play the game. I'm legitimately going to tell you what I'm picking in my bracket.
Okay, fair enough. All right, moving on. We have Blake. Who do we got next?
We got the Auburn Tigers, your SEC tournament champions, versus the winners of the Ivy League on a last-second buzzer-beater shot, the Yale Bulldogs. This one, I think, is honestly relatively to me. Yale should have lost in the championship game, although they've been impressive, can put on the offensive show. Auburn is one of those teams that this could burn me because throughout the season, I'm like, Auburn's a whole bunch of home merchants. They can't actually go on the road. They can't play in the hostile environments. They just seem to love their home confines, similar to Iowa State. We'll get to them later, but I feel like Ford is criminally underseeded. Like, they're like number 4 in KenPom. Like, they're a really good analytical team that can pour on points quick, really athletic, can muck things up. I gotta go Auburn here. I don't think Yale will repeat its victory against like a Baylor, a top power this year. They've become kind of the standard in the Ivy League over the past few years, but I think Auburn wipes them.
The SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 champions are all on the same bracket side as UConn.
Like the number 1 seed.
The
number 1 overall seed.
Very weird stuff. I don't understand this bracket right here. And you know what? I'm not feeling the Yale right now. I'm going to go Auburn.
What's the line on this? I think Auburn's going to blow them out the freaking gym. It's going to be bad.
I think it's probably Auburn. Like Auburn -7, if I had to guess.
Oh my God, I slammed that. I would slam 11.5. Yeah. This Auburn team, I really like this Auburn team. Like, obviously, the third coming of Jalen Williams, great wing defender. But Johnny Broom.
Oh no, 12.5. 12.5.
Okay, so that's right where I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still will take it. Give me Auburn.
All Alabama matchup there with UAB and Auburn. So, anyways. All right, next up, we've got the BYU Cougars, 6th seed against the 11th seeded Duquesne. Duquesne, this is one of the bid stealers right here. And if you look at their full body of work outside the tournament, not great, not ideal at all. And they're kind of like a weird 11 seed, really. I heard someone say today that it kind of looks like whoever was making the tournament just kind of slotted them into wherever VCU would have been, not actually looked at the resume. Because of that, I'm going to go with BYU to advance over Duquesne.
Yeah, it's one of the weird things. Like, Duquesne is not an 11 seed. Get out of here. This is an absolute joke. I'm not, out of principle, I'm not going to pick them. And plus, let me just give a little time to talk about my boys, BYU. I've been talking about him since the beginning of the season. Blake knows my favorite player, probably my favorite player in all of basketball. And it's not just like laughing because he's a big, larger man out there throwing some nice dimes. This dude's a player, Ollie Khalifa. I love Ollie Khalifa. Man.
Oh, gosh.
Give me BYU. Man, I love this BYU team.
I am going to go. So BYU already moved on. I don't necessarily like Duquesne, but I've been warning y'all. I don't believe BYU is going to be a very good tournament team. I don't think they're making it past the round of 32 whatsoever. They are too streaky. They shoot too many threes that if they go somewhat cold from three-point line, they are done for. We saw it in the Big 12 tournament versus Texas Tech where they were just cold for like 10 minutes in the first half and we're already down by 30 points. They can't get out of those deficits. They can't shoot their way out of it. Duquesne, there's no reason why they should be seeded at an 11. Like, James Madison's a seed behind them, and James Madison had a significantly better season. You have New Mexico in the same seed line with them, and New Mexico won their conference tournaments, rated top 25 in KenPom. They're rated, like, top 70, I think. Like, not good, but BYU's susceptible. They're susceptible to any team that they play just because they play that variant style ball, just like Bama, just like some of these other teams in the bracket. I'm going to go Duquesne just because I think they come out ice cold. I just think they come out ice cold.
Okay, there we go. We're moving BYU on, though, in our joint bracket.
And BYU intentionally moved themselves down as a 5 seed to a 6 seed just so they wouldn't have to play on Sunday.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jamison, who we got next?
Oh, we got Illinois versus Morehead State, and let me tell you something. Antonio Brown might be up to something here. I love Morehead State. I think Illinois is a stellar team. Obviously, Big Ten tournament champions here. Terrence Shannon's great. But let me tell you about a guy named Riley Minix. This is a dude that is transferred from NAIA, was shooting 50+% while in NAIA. Now he's here and he's just a walking bucket for this Morehead State team. Give me Riley Minix versus Terrence Shannon head-to-head. Who can score more? Riley Minix hits him with a little bit about, let's say, 30-point, 10-rebound, double-double, hitting some big threes, gets a buzzer beater to win it. Give me Morehead State and join me, everyone.
I don't know if it's my turn, but I'll start talking. I can't ride with you, Jamison.
Oh,
I love Morehead State. Morehead, very, very talented squad. But Illinois just seems like they're on a different level recently. And it's like partly because it's like, oh, look when they were like losing a lot of their games. It was whenever Terrence Shannon was suspended. And now that he's back, they look so much better. They have a two-headed monster. They just have what you want from a good March Madness team. Great guard play. They got 2 elite guards. I love Illinois in this tournament, and it sucks. This is the least likable Illinois squad I've ever seen or in my entire life. I love those Ayo Dosunmu years and Kofi Coburn and all those whenever they got knocked. Kofi? Oh, I loved Kofi till ever he got walloped by Loyola, and I put, like, at the time, my biggest bet of my life. Or after that I did. I was so mad. I couldn't believe I put the biggest bet of my life at that moment on Illinois to beat Loyola. I'm like, there is no way Loyola with Cameron Kurtwig, that dirty little boy, is gonna work Ayu Dosunmu and Kofi Coburn, and yeah, they got worked. But I think Illinois is just at a different level. So give me the Illini.
We're going to tip it over in favor of Morehead State.
Wait, what? Okay, this is so. Yeah. This is. Balled on. I knew this. I knew this would happen at some point. The fact that I come on this podcast and I'm chained to 2 ball not knowers' opinions on some of these things. Illinois is a Elite 8 lock, in my opinion. If not, is going to challenge for the Final Four. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Like, you literally just when they get buzzer beat.
Yeah, Blake, you literally just regaled us with all of these times that Brad Underwood's Illinois teams have completely dropped the ball against programs they should absolutely beat. I feel like they ran into a nightmarish matchup here with Morehead State, and I'm feeling the vibes. I'm riding with it. It just feels right. I don't know.
Riley Minix it's gonna be in your nightmares. Oh man, what a ball.
You better have the cojones then to take this team to the Sweet 16, because there's no way in hell BYU is making it to the Sweet 16. That's all I gotta say. If you're gonna drop your nuts on the table, you better
advance them. There they are.
More. My pick is more. Let's go.
Jesus Christ!
That's the magic of this bracket, folks. I love it.
Oh, this is gonna get stinky then. Is it my turn to announce, I guess? It's your
turn, Blake. Yeah, it's your turn, Blake.
In the 7-10 matchup, we got Washington State, the hot team coming out, a kind of unexpected team, out of the Pac-12 versus the 10 seed. Drake, led by Tucker DeVries, comes back for one more year. A solid senior-laden Drake squad once again. And this one's easy for me. This one is easy for me. They were close last year, couldn't get it done. Drake, I think, is out for vengeance. I think the Missouri Valley was a sneaky good mid-major conference. Indiana State should have made it. I want to see those mid-majors make it, but sadly they did not. They play great ball. Tucker DeVries, incredible player. And there's just something about I don't trust teams out of the Pac-12 this year. I don't think Arizona's very good. I don't think Oregon's very good. The fact that Oregon won the conference tournament should say everything about the conference. Colorado, shaky. There's no depth in that league. Nothing that's really challenging them more than, say, something I think even in the Missouri Valley. Like, I just don't think there's elite teams there. Give me Drake. I think Drake is poised. I think they're going to be the Cinderella this year. That Sweet 16, double digits. They're seated correctly. Like, 10 is very high. And they deserve it because this team is very solid. So give me Drake.
Yeah, I like the Bulldogs here. I feel like, Washington State, this is their first time in the tournament since 2008, I believe. So they're going to be like going all the way at this thing, but I really like what Drake has going on. I think they're scrappy, and I'm with you, Blake. I feel like the Pac-12 has been pretty garbage this year. Like you said, Oregon won the damn tournament, so that should really tell you all you need to know. Drake just feels like a team of destiny, and I think their second round matchup just feels like almost like pre-planned situation. So yeah, we're gonna go with Drake here.
I'm picking the Cougs. Next.
All right.
Boom.
All right, next up, we've got the Iowa State Cyclones, Big 12 tournament champions, second seed, going up against the scrappy South Dakota State Jackrabbits. And look, I could have this one flipped on me. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go Iowa State here. I know 215s have become like a really, I don't want to say trendy pick because it's
last
crazy
3 years.
Yeah,
last 3 years.
And this one just looks ripe for the taking. I don't feel like Iowa State's going to go deep, but I think they can beat South Dakota State and move on to a matchup with their neighbors from down I-35. So, yeah, let's go with Iowa State here.
Yeah, I'll give my talks later on Iowa State. Let's just move them on.
Yep. Don't trust these perennial 15 seeds. Like, South Dakota State's been in this. They represent their conference all the time. Never do anything with it. I want my Cinderellas to be fresh. I want them to be once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not they're always kind of getting this every single year. Give me Iowa State.
I feel like they got one upset once, South Dakota State. Maybe
they might have.
Maybe they got close. I'm not sure. All right, that's all we have for the East. We're moving on to the West now. Starting off with North Carolina and the winner of Howard and Wagner.
Skip it, North Carolina.
UNC.
Hey, cool. What happens if I had a detailed breakdown of the Howard Wagner game
all right,
coming to you live tomorrow?
Let's put that behind. We're going to put that behind a paywall. If the people really want to see it.
Seth Towns, one more year of eligibility. And he's already in his eighth year of college.
Which college does this person play for?
Howard.
Okay.
God.
Yep.
Incredible. He was like, well, we'll be cheering for Wagner.
Yeah, he's 26. I think he's the oldest. He's the oldest college basketball player.
It's wild. I've seen it. It's like he started his freshman year was the year after Buddy Hield graduated. So
yep. And he was he was the offensive player of the year in the Ivy League.
Yeah.
And then just had a string of injuries.
Yeah, truly wild stuff. All right, Jamison, next matchup.
Mississippi State 8 versus Michigan State 9. Don't like either of these teams, and neither of these teams really get me too excited. Mississippi State, I feel like, has been a boomer bust team this year. Like, you just saw it recently. SEC tournament just destroyed Tennessee. Tennessee, a team I think is really good. And then they won that by 17. Lost to Auburn's okay, but still, like before that, they were just losing games left and right. I just don't know if I can trust them. And what do you want me to say about the Michigan State team? They're hot and cold too. You might get them good, you might get them bad. I really don't know what to do. I'm going to pick Mississippi State. I don't have much to say.
This Michigan State team's a bunch of fresh bums. How did they make the tournament? Are we serious here? I know they have the advanced analytics on their side, but never were able to string together tons of impressive wins. It's more been on losing streaks, skids. They'll lose 2, lose 3 in a row. The final 5 games of the season, they went 1-4. Like, why are we putting this team in? They didn't do anything in the Big Ten tournament. They beat Minnesota, who stinks, and then they played Purdue and lost. This Michigan State team makes no sense to me. They're giving, just because he could retire at any moment, they are giving Izzo that treatment. Want to make sure he can go out theoretically on top if he wanted to. But you know who I love? I love this this Mississippi State squad. I know Jamison was hating on him. Chris Jans rocks as a coach. Another kind of it reminds me of Jamie Dixon TCU, but just better.
That's all
and
that I
more
need to
fun
know.
to watch. They muck it up a little bit more. They're really feisty on defense. Like I was very impressed with them in the SEC tournament, just walloping Dalton Connect and the Volunteers. I'm very impressed by Mississippi State. I want them to go far, so give me the Bulldogs.
Okay, yeah, let's move the Bulldogs on. Don't have much to say other than, honestly, the whole Izzo in March. Oh, you never know. Like, that's the only reason why I would think of Michigan State. And also teams that get hot in their conference tournament tend to be a little flat. But I think out of spite, out of anger that they got in the field, we're shooting down Michigan State. So anyways, Blake, next matchup.
In a classic 5-12 matchup, we got two of the rising powers in mid-major West Coast basketball. We got the number 5 seed St. Mary's College versus Grand Canyon. This one is so simple in my mind. Kind of becoming, I wouldn't give it the full Robin title yet, but could potentially be the Robin to San Diego City's Batman. Get Grand Canyon out of my face. I'm tired of their dumb little student section and them hyped up on sodas and whatever else they're doing and getting hyped for these horrible whack conference games. Nobody wants to watch that. It feels so artificial. It seems so fake. It's just like, look at me. We really care. It's like the school, just full of a bunch of NPCs that they bring into the stadium and just try to fill it out to make it look cool. This school stinks. Get them out of my face. I'm tired that they're now becoming like they've put themselves in a conference that just sucks at basketball. They kicked out Chicago State last year. And that shows you, like, if Chicago State is in your conference, you know the caliber, the type of teams that are in there. St. Mary's is legit this year. They are what San Diego City thinks they are, but St. Mary's has masterfully perfected that. Really good at shot making, but can grind you out defensively. They've made the West Coast Conference basketball a treat this year. St. Mary's, move them on to round 32.
I'm not going to lay into Grand Canyon very much for reasons, but
what reasons?
I'm pretty sure we have a friend who is currently enrolled there. So
I'll say it to his face again.
Do a little grad school thing. But it's the definition of a kind of a commuter school. So I see the annoyance there. It's almost like they're doing that as an advertisement, that sort of deal.
That's the thing. It's like a commuter school. Usually nobody shows up. They have all these people show up, but I'm like, who are these people? Why do they care? That's what it seems NBC-esque.
They're basketball crisis actors.
Their student section has been filled ever since they have made D1, which makes no sense because they used to really suck. They weren't going anywhere, and they still had a filled student section, which doesn't show even at the best programs, if you are bad, students aren't showing up to some games. You can see it. No school has that much commitment that the stadium will be full every single time, and for some reason they find 30,000 NPCs and just put them in that stadium. And I don't get where they come from. I don't get it.
Regardless, I'm with you. I'm going to go St. Mary's here as well. At least they got rid of the TCU, the fake TCU logo.
The fake TCU logo. Thank God.
If they had the fake TCU logo, I'd have picked them. But we're picking St. Mary's. Like Blake said, this team is good. It seems really good. The way they handled Gonzaga in the tournament too. Honestly, they stopped a team that was really hot. I really like that St. Mary's team.
Jeff's kiss.
Sure. All right, next up, we've got the Alabama Crimson Tide and Charleston in a 4-13 matchup. To be just Alabama. I think they'll just yeah, they got this one. I feel like we see Charleston pop up and they never make any noise. So
this is the reason you see them pop up and they don't make any noise, because things just don't make sense. Last year, they went against an absolute hoss of a team in the first round, and that's why they couldn't pull off the upset. They wouldn't have played one of the best teams in college basketball last year. Do you remember who they played in the first round last year, Blake?
Oh, God. No, yep, I do. Yep. God damn it, Jamison.
San Diego State. Whenever you're playing the second best team in college basketball last year, of course, you go against this Alabama team. Alabama doesn't know how to play defense worth a lick. They can't play defense. If it goes down and you're like, oh, Charleston's hitting some shots and Alabama isn't, the Alabama defense is going to stop this Charleston team that's full of upperclassmen. Give me Charleston for a little nice upset here.
Nope. This is the bunch of frauds bowl, and somebody has to come out of this. But if it's going to be one team, it's going to be Bama. Like, these teams play so similar. They just jack a whole bunch of threes and, like, hope things go in. And that's why Charleston has, or you'll see Charleston's that way. Colgate, we'll wait till Colgate. But yeah, Bama's just gonna kill them. Bama will get one win, and then we'll see what they're made of. But yeah, not a fan of Nate Oates, not a fan of his style. But I just feel like Charleston's been in the tournament a lot, hasn't made it happen for me. Still a little bit bitter now after Jamison bringing that back up from last year. They had a chance to stop all my misery, so get him out.
That was a kind of a close game at the end too. Like that was not just
it was.
Yeah. Blake, Jamison and I were almost on the other end of the Malort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, that's the thing. It's always those teams that go on weird miracle runs that make no sense because they suck so bad, but still somehow win games. It's always their first round game was close. They were almost there. Like, it was just, if one or two things went their way, we wouldn't have to deal with it. We wouldn't have the national nightmare, the inflation issues caused from that tournament. Like, yeah.
It's such a bummer that y'all didn't pick Charleston. I had such a good argument for it. I wish I would have gone first.
No.
Anyways, Jamison, you're up next.
All right, we've got Clemson versus New Mexico, and New Mexico is just such a fun team. And this is like one of those weird scenarios that everyone's talking about where it's like, oh, look, the 11 seed is like got the betting odds favorite to win. Yeah, that's weird. Just look at this roster, and there's gonna be a lot of people picking New Mexico because they see the name JT Toppin, they see the name Jalen House. You know, they see these familiar last names, and they're like, oh man, I know these guys. I can ride with them. And it's going to be a casual pick, and I'm going to continue to be a casual with them because I just don't believe in this Clemson team at all. I'll pick New Mexico here. I really like this New Mexico team.
That's good. You're a ball knower for that, Jamison. This one's an easy one. It's New Mexico. We got a Patino in the tournament. We didn't get Rick Pitino, but we got a Patino. And New Mexico checks every box for me. They have 3 senior elite guards. Like, that is what you want in this tournament. They play excellent defense. When they can get hot, they can shoot the ball well. Their game is just molded perfectly for this tournament, that out of all the Mountain West teams, I feel most confident about New Mexico, even though they were kind of like perceived as they wouldn't have gotten in if they didn't win the tournament. I think this New Mexico squad is fantastic. And then on the other hand, Clemson, their coach, I don't hear much about Clemson basketball. They beat TCU earlier in the year, but the only thing I ever see about Clemson basketball is their coach whining about the system. He's always whining about something. They're not respecting the ACC enough. The Big 12 is juicing it by playing like bad non-conference opponents. He's always whining about something. He finally got his good year that he can not get fired after like 8 years of them trying to fire him. It's New Mexico. This one's easy. Like, yeah, Vegas knows.
Yeah,
Vegas
absolutely.
knows.
They got Jamal Mashburn's kid and Eddie House's kid. It's like there's going to be too much. ESPN is going to be eating this for like dinner. It's going to be nuts.
No, you wouldn't know that because it's not one of their ESPN properties, so they'll only start juicing the ACC, like Jay Billis going on there today and being like, Pitt being left out was a disaster. This is the tournament. How could you leave Pitt out? Pitt isn't even close. They weren't even sniffing that tournament, my guy. There's a billion other schools that I'd put in before I put in Pitt. ESPN's not going to be talking about that. They only want to boost their properties. A proud CBS property, CBS Sports Network in the Mountain West, a respectable network.
Blake is a CBS stan, just loves the music. You know,
Yep.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah, New Mexico's the pick here. The ACC is vastly overrated. New Mexico, I feel like, was really underseeded here as well. So yeah,
they hated on Mountain West this whole time.
They did.
They did bad. Like, what's Boise State doing in the play-in?
Did y'all see Boise State's reaction? They were like, "What? Like, we're in the play-in?"
Yeah,
like,
they were astonished.
They were like not even close to it in any bracketology, and then they were like,
and how the hell is New Mexico 11? Like, they just really, they're hot right now. What is going on? The Mountain West is a stellar conference.
Colorado State was the last team in. And they were like comfortably in most like projections.
It's genuinely absurd. And I mean, just look back to last year when Mountain West team, made the national championship. Ridiculous. We can't forget about that. Anyways, let's move on to our next game. Blake, who do we got?
We got the number 3 seeded coming from the Big 12, Baylor Bears, Scott Drew, trying to find that magic that he had a few years ago when we led him to a national championship versus the Colgate Raiders. I'll make this one easy for you. I am sick of Colgate. Colgate's always in the tournament. They were the trendy team coming in the first time because they shoot those damn threes well. But when it comes to these big moments, they can't shoot them well enough to beat these good teams. You need the random team that has never shot a 3 well and then gets hot. That's how you upset a team. Everybody knows what Colgate is trying to do whenever they come into a game. They're gonna defend the 3-point line. This team can't. They are a one-trick pony, little Cinderella wannabe. I don't want them near. I don't even want them in discussion that they're beating Baylor. Baylor's just they play no defense, but have elite offensive weapons that Colgate can't keep up with. Give me Baylor.
I feel like Colgate's always been a trendy team to advance, and they never do. Give me Baylor.
Baylor's too physical for them. I really want to just watch Baylor really closely because a guy like Jacoby Walter, I feel like, has been really less than stellar this whole year. And it's been such a disappointment. He's like a type of guy that should be going crazy and ooh and ahhing all of college basketball with how good of a shooter he is. And I feel like he's been less than stellar. We need guys like him to do better. So hopefully he can have a good tournament and provide a little bit more fun for the people watching college basketball in terms of NBA prospects.
Cool. All right, next up, we've got the 7th seeded Dayton Flyers against Nevada, the Wolfpack. I think I pronounced that wrong. It should be Nevada. I actually don't really have a direction on this one, so I'm rolling with Dayton. I feel like they perform well in the tournament. Kind of overseeded a little bit here, but I'm rolling with the Flyers here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Flyers as well. Blake can give us the more in-depth thing on why Nevada is the correct pick, because I know deep down he's going to say Dayton is way over and over their head.
Yep.
Everyone's picking Dayton. I just have this weird feeling he's a big Nevada guy, so I just want to listen to this argument.
Yeah, no, it's just Nevada actually plays a style of ball that can win in March. It's good, plays great offense, plays great defense. Dayton, a one-sided team, they only play offense, and their resume has just been the most overblown thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Dayton was still ranked in the AP poll, and I'm like, what have you done all season, Dayton? Your best win that I'm going through it now was St. John's early in the season, which they didn't hit their own, maybe a Cincinnati team, but that's about it. They didn't do much impressive in the non-conference. They seem to struggle with some of the better teams in the A10, but everybody was just acting like Dayton's a lock. Dayton has to go in. It doesn't make sense when a Nevada team I've been very impressed with, they throttle TCU whenever I watched them. They can shoot the 3-ball well. They can defend well. A guy that we've seen in the tournament before, Steve Alford, head coach. They just play it's Nevada's gonna kill him. I think Nevada's gonna kill him. I think everybody's biting into this Dayton hype because the national agenda is pushing it. They're like, this team's been ranked. They're good. Dayton hasn't shown me anything impressive on the court. I haven't watched a Dayton game and been like, oh wow, they're really gonna change things in March. No, they're just giving them they're just giving them throwing them a little bone after the best Dayton team was never able to play in the tournament because of COVID. This is Nevada's gonna kill them. Give me the Wolfpack. Give me the Wolfpack.
All right, Jamison, next matchup.
All right, Arizona, Long Beach State. I'm not going to do anything on this one. This is Arizona.
It is Arizona, but the funniest thing about this game is on Monday, the Long Beach State coach and the university agreed to part ways at the end of the season, but allowed him to coach out the remainder of his tenure, and he took him to March Madness. And so what a 2 weeks notice from him. It would be a great upset. If a number 2 team is going to get upset, it's going to be Arizona. Arizona's always sleeping at the wheel. I don't feel confident enough in Long Beach State, but who knows? Like Arizona, they can't seem to get past the round of 64, round of 32. So it could happen. It could happen.
I'm picking Long Beach State because it would be hilarious. And Arizona bit me really bad a couple years ago. Lost day 1 when I had them as my national champion. So I'm never trusting them again. So in my bracket, I'm going Long Beach State, but in this one, we're going to advance the Wildcats. All right, let's move on to the South region, starting with Houston and Longwood.
Tell us about Longwood, Blake.
I know nothing about Longwood.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember on my bachelor trip or party, you gave me a whole spiel about how Longwood
because that was Longwood's good year.
Lot.
That was Longwood's good year, and then now they've kind of fallen out of graces, and they didn't win the conference tournament that year. And then whenever they fall out of the graces, wherever I don't think they're going to be good, they storm back, win the conference tournament. But yeah, I don't remember much about them. I watched the final 2. Their tournament games, they look good, but that's like every 16 seed. You watch their conference tournament game and you're like, this team's pretty good, they got some hops, and then when they actually get seeded, you're like, oh, like they're probably not that good, like they're just not that good. Nothing to say here, just Houston will not get upset by a 16 seed. I would bet my life on that. Like if there was one of these 4 ones, they play too good of defense.
Right. We're going to go ahead and just advance them. Right, James?
Advance.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Houston's advanced. Next up, we have the Trev Alberts Bowl. The 8th seeded Nebraska Cornhuskers looking for their first ever NCAA tournament win. Hilarious that they have never won one. Taking on the Texas A&M Aggies. This one, another wild story. Same matchup in the women's bracket, and it's notable if you don't know. It's notable because Nebraska's former athletic director just now went to Texas A&M. This all in despite of the fact that he is, a Nebraska alumni. So a lot of weird drama there, a lot of weirdness around this game, this situation. And look, I don't know. I feel like I know where this is going to go. I think Jamison and Blake both are riding the hot hand with Texas A&M. They've been looking good. But I'm going to go Nebraska to get that first NCAA tournament win. I don't know. They're a little bit spicy of their own. If I'm blanking on the guy, but if he gets hot,
Keisei Tominaga.
Yep, I was like, that was right.
Everyone wants to talk about Keisei Tominaga.
Keisei Tominaga, look, he's gonna get on the one shining moment highlight. Very early on. This guy's gonna be hot. I'm feeling the vibes. Give me the Huskers.
No, Keisei Tominaga is going to open up the game 0 for 7, and he's going to hit 1-3, and he's going to go crazy. And everyone's going to be like, oh, look, wow, where's number 30? Wow, Curry.
If he hits a shot, it's on one shiny moment. He could go Dion Waiters 1 for 30, and he is going to make it. He is going to make it on that montage.
I think the way he carries himself makes such a high-risk game for this Nebraska team that if he goes out there and he does over, it's toast. Even if he's hitting shots, I think Texas A&M can keep up with him. Give me the hater pick. I'm going Texas A&M in case he's over. Let's say he misses his first 5 shots.
Wow. Damn.
I am going to go. I think I got to go. I gotta go A&M. I've always been a big Buzz Williams stan. I really loved him at Marquette, loved him at Virginia Tech, was surprised that Texas A&M could take him away, but they are, Bobby kind of mentioned it, like they impressed me in the tournament. It's like they went through a stretch, we've seen it before in tournament teams where February does not look too kind for them, and
God
it did
bless.
not. They lost
35
five in a
20.
row. They basically like almost went the entire month without a win. Like it was bad. But to see what they did against some, like, you felt like their life was on the line with some of these big games, like at Mississippi versus Kentucky, like a physical team that runs and wants to shoot threes. Like I look at that Kentucky game, I'm like, Texas A&M can defend that, and Nebraska's a significant, like they want to run and shoot threes, but they are not as talented as Kentucky. Give me the Aggies. I think the Aggies move on.
All right, Aggies move on to take on their in-state rival in Houston. Moving on, we've got Wisconsin and James Madison. Jamison, who do you like?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So, yeah, James Madison, everyone's freaking out about them. They are going to be the darling that everyone wants to pick. You know, there's a couple of lower seeds like that. But here's why I'm going to pick Wisconsin. And this is a very non-analytical take. Wisconsin goes out, plays a tough game, loses in that Big Ten championship. And whenever I'm watching, the poor guys have to be on camera and cheer as they see their 5 seed pop up. There's a couple people clapping. You see a couple of the good players like Steven Crowl and AJ Storr over there. Oh man, I was so getting really tired of the Storr puns on CBS. If anyone else knows exactly what I'm talking about, oh my God, I was about to lose it. What was it? Clark Kellogg was just destroying. Let's see what they have in store. I'm like, stop, Clark, stop. But here's why I'm picking Wisconsin over James Madison. People are clapping, and you look over, and Chucky Hepburn is mad, hands crossed, scowling, mad that he has to be on TV and he sees Wisconsin 5. They've got a vendetta. Give me Wisconsin.
I'm not taking the bait here. The bait, everybody and their mother is going to be over James Madison. They're going to see the record. They're going to see the success. They're going to see that early win. I think still fresh on people's minds for some reason, that win in overtime versus Michigan State at the beginning of the season. But I think who like, there's some teams in some of these mid-major conferences that I'm actually impressed by, think are good. There was only one other in the Sun Belt that I think was impressive. It was Appalachian State. They didn't make the tournament. Or Boko with the late run. Sorry, Jamison. I need to give some respect on that late Boko run.
They could have made it. If they would have beat James Madison, things could have gotten scary in the finals.
They would have put them on that 16 seed play-in game if they would have won that tournament. They would have been a lock. They would have been a lock to just go start practicing in Dayton, because there is no way they would have gotten anywhere besides that seed line. But
could have helped OU. Could have helped OU.
It could have. It could have. Yep, could have. But the thing is, so James Madison hasn't played anybody. Like, they got the Michigan State win, the first game of the season. You see fluky stuff happen all the time at the beginning of the year, but we just put the crown on them ever since that day, and the best team they played that was even in the top 100 of KenPom was Appalachian State. They played them twice, lost to them both times. This team just hasn't played anybody good, and I'm really impressed. Like, Wisconsin had a tough February, just like A&M, but super, super impressed what they did against Purdue. Purdue, we'll get to them later, but they have some home cooking with those Big Ten refs. It's a ref show out there. I can't watch Purdue games. I can't watch Zach Edey. Jamison mentioned earlier, like months and months ago, how like we can't get behind stars in college basketball these days because there's no NBA prospects. We could get behind them if it wasn't Zach Edey leading the way in the Player of the Year race, that he's getting stuffed in our face 24/7 because he's the most boring player to watch. They run their entire team through him, and Wisconsin shut him down, even though they were calling the most BS. My Twitter feed is just always full of BS Purdue calls that they're constantly getting because gangly Zach Edey in the post is just flailing around, hitting people, and they're just calling fouls on the other team. I was impressed that Wisconsin was able to overcome it. Not many teams have. Move on the Badgers to the round of 32.
All right, moving on, Wisconsin.
Are you a James Madison guy, Bobby? I feel like you are.
It feels.
Yeah.
No. It feels too obvious. I'm with you. I think it feels like obvious bait, and I think maybe some of my football brain is like influencing me a little too much. So I'm like trying to cut against the grain of what my actual brain is trying to tell me, because I know it's too good to be true with JMU.
This Wisconsin team's different. For the people that haven't been watching them this year, they can shoot. Like, they can run and shoot. They're not super slow. They're not trying to play the defensive game all the time, kind of like some of those boring old school Wisconsin teams. They can run. They can run and play. Store's good. Yeah, it's like they found a guy. Like, now that their best player is a guard that can run and shoot and wants to like get out in space, they adapt to him. Thank God. Because Wisconsin basketball is boring to watch besides that.
Well, all right. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to our next game. Blake, who do we got?
We got out of the ACC the Duke Blue Devils, who somehow were the most hated, probably the most hated basketball team, becoming to one of the most. People didn't really have opinion with John Shire, but they brought the heat back this year. They brought the heat back for sure. People are hating Duke again versus Vermont. I'll get into Duke later. This is just going in on Vermont. They're one of those teams I see every single year. They get a nice, good seeding. They get a 12, a 13, a 14, somewhere in there. They cannot do anything in March. They have this, like, people just think because they dominate their conference, they're going to come in and do the same. They don't. They lose. They're always a popular upset pick. I'm done with them. I'm sick of them. Them and Colgate. They're always in this bracket. They always lose. That's like, you could set your watch to it. Give me Duke. I don't care who. You could honestly put San Diego City across from Vermont at this point, and I'd probably still choose San Diego City. I'm just tired of these teams that are just like constantly in the tournament, never do anything. Like, give us some spice. I've been betting on UMass Lowell for the longest time. They've always been the number 2 in the American East. So close to coming out. They are so close to beating Vermont finally, just so we can see the Riverhawks. A little bit of spice from the American East, and actually a really good low major conference. The Maine Black Bears are also up there. I love me some Maine Black Bears, but yeah, I'm tired of Vermont's stranglehold on that conference. I'm tired of seeing them in my bracket. Get them off. Give me the Blue Devils.
As much as I'd love to knock Duke off early, I'm not feeling it with Vermont. So we're going to go with John Shire and the crew to advance.
I think Blake's getting a little bit of fatigue from March Madness.
I get a fatigue from some of these schools that get constant Cinderella opportunities and just blow them. Vermont's like the leading one, I feel
There's
like.
going to be one of these teams. It's going to make
at least
it.
Colgate at least gets the 14-15 spot. It feels like a lot, and so can't expect much. But Vermont sometimes gets the 12 spot and just never does anything with it. Nothing.
I mean, I'll talk about Duke in a little bit, but we'll move on.
Yeah. Next up, we've got the 6 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders taking on the 11 seed NC State Wolfpack. I feel like this was a non-conference football matchup kind of recently, like a couple years ago. Look, NC State to me is the definition of a team that gets incredibly hot at the very end, wins a tournament, and then lays a big ol' egg round 1. I think Texas Tech has this one. You know, how do you as much as I enjoyed watching NC State, rumble and tumble their way to winning an ACC title.
You're only saying rumble and tumble because DJ Burns.
DJ Burns. I do love me some DJ Burns.
Exactly. DJ Burns was the star of the show. I'm going to go with Texas Tech though. Just that I feel like this is the classic letdown game.
I had Texas Tech pegged as this team that I thought can make like a run, because throughout the season I thought they had a lot of the things that I was really excited about for a tournament team. I really like their guard play. I think Chance McMillan, Toussaint. I think Pop Isaac's a really good player. Oh, you disagree, huh?
Pop Isaacs is a great player, but he and Terrence Shannon would make the perfect all penitentiary backcourt, so I'll leave it there.
But they've got great guard play. We've already said it a couple times. So I get really excited about them. But just there's something towards like this in the season. Maybe it's recency bias because that Houston game, I just watched them. My eye test them. I'm sorry. I know Houston's a really, really good team. It just really made me nervous. I don't think that NC State's going to beat them, but just a precursor. I'm going to pick Texas Tech here, but I don't think I'm going to move them as far as I was going to whenever if you would have asked me maybe January, February.
Yep, I'm agreeing with you. It hates me to like. I love DJ Burns. He's such a fun player to watch. He is so fun. It just the hype of the conference champion that came out of nowhere. They usually don't do much come March. It's Grant McCaslin too. I'll give him credit. I love Grant McCaslin. I wanted TCU to hire Grant McCaslin 2 years ago. Wanted to fire Jim Dixon then, but of course Texas Tech got him. But he has March experience. Like took UNT on a deep run. He knows how to get his team prepared. Although like it feels like this Texas Tech team is still a year away from being like old Texas Tech. But you see some of that dominance. It has to be Texas Tech. Sadly, they got to move on.
Okay. I will say this. I feel like we've said it a couple times this podcast. Isn't NC State, they won 5 games to win their conference tournament. The last team to do that won the national championship.
It might have been, or they.
Because I think the last team to do that was UConn. Am I?
I'm trying to think.
Someone let me know, but I think that's what I think I read that somewhere. So I'm just saying that like.
The Kimba year?
The Kimba year. Yes.
Yeah, but that was a little different.
I don't know. It's hard to run whenever it's those like juice, like Big East does it. Big 12's starting to do it, but like the ACC definitely does it whenever you juice
I'm not saying NC State's going to win the national championship.
No. But they juice the bracket, so it's hard to win 5 games in a row where like the back teams don't play the good teams just rest up until about 2 or 3 rounds into this bad boy.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a weird tournament too. I'm pretty sure VCU was in there, maybe like Butler, if that's the Final Four I'm thinking of. Like that,
and it's also Kimba. Like Kimba went on one of the most insane March performances of all time. It's like that's where he is the poster boy for good guard play in March helps. Like guards are usually what you remember from the tournament because they're the difference makers at the end of the day.
Right, and just in terms of star power in college basketball, there aren't any Kimbas remotely in the sport right now. So.
Yeah, it was UConn Butler, and Butler played VCU, and UConn played Kentucky. And I'm pretty sure, was that the Kentucky team with the twins, the Harrison twins?
Yes,
no, I think this was. No. Was it? I feel like this was earlier than that.
Might have been.
Yeah, it was earlier. Harrison twins, weren't they the
Harrison's whenever they came through? No, I think they came through like the 8 seed or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Whatever. We're just playing the memory game here. We need to move on.
Hey, speaking of Kentucky, Jamison.
Is this my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yes, Kentucky.
My turn.
My turn. Okay, Kentucky, Oakland. I did not do any research on this Oakland team. Who is that small guard he played for Oakland back in the day?
Oh, God, the one that led the nation in scoring. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
That's all I can say
always
about Oakland. I got nothing. This Kentucky team, love me some Reed Shepherd. Man, that guy's a baller. 6-man. Just fundamentally sound basketball player. Give me Kentucky.
Oh, is it me? Is it my
is
turn?
You, Blake. It is you, Blake.
My
that,
turn.
That is how this has been working for the past hour and 3 minutes.
I keep on forgetting, but yeah, it's Kentucky. They have too much talent for an Oakland team. It would be very funny. Like the memes, the Cal, like there's nothing that gets me going about college basketball more than a Cal's on the hot seat type rant. Like Kentucky Sports Radio has some gold there with some of their callers. Like I just wish I cheered for a team like that got that gold, that passion, that vitriol that comes from it. Sadly, I do not root for one of those teams. I guess thing to look out for, Trey Townsend for Oakland. He, I guess the big storyline, it's going to get shoved down your throat during that game, but Greg Camp, the coach, he went to, so I guess it's Camp's Camp, He went to like his basketball camp growing up and now plays for him and is like really close to his family. And he's like, I think Greg Camp's been there for like 30 years at Oakland, has been there forever. So it's like a cool feel good story. But yeah, Kentucky's going to roll him.
K Felder.
No, what did I do? Hold on. Yeah, no, I'm with y'all. Kentucky, just too much. By the way, hilarious that we referred to that era of Kentucky as the Harrison twins team when they played with Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker.
Yep, no, it's known by the guards. Devin Booker was like kind of just like really didn't impress me while he was at Kentucky, which is the funny thing.
I really wanted him with the Thunder. I mean, we were one pick away from some glory there. Instead, we got Cameron Payne. But anyways, moving on to our next one. Blake, who do we got?
So we have the 7th seed Florida out of the SEC off of a recent SEC or appearance in the title game versus Boise and Colorado. The winner of that, I think Boise is going to roll Colorado. Boise is a great team, should not be in this play-in game. But even if it was Colorado, I'm not going to choose Trader weirdest story that never gets publicized and Eddie Lampkin and where like his like path. I am not rooting for him. I do not want good things to happen to him. So I guess give me the 10 seed because I think it's Boise. Boise I think would beat Florida. But yeah, there's a little bit worried, like Florida, the guy that got his bone, like the bone shot through the back of his leg.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, during the game, last time I saw something like that happen was Kevin Ware, and Louisville won the national championship. So, could be eating my words here by choosing the 10 seed, because Florida could go on a run, win it, just because of that one historical data point, which is 100%. But yeah, I'm gonna take the 10 seed, preferably Boise. Hopefully, if not, I have the right to change my pick to Florida because I don't think Colorado's beating them.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough time in between the Kevin Ware-ish incident and now. Like, I feel like it was wrapped up in the moment. Like, it happened at the Final Four. I'm not on Kevin Ware watch on this one. I'm with y'all. I think Boise State is definitely going to beat Colorado. They're pissed off. Did not feel like they should be in this position. And as much as I love Cody Williams and would love to see him play some tournament basketball, it's been a little bit off recently. And
he doesn't even start. Like, no. It's just such a, like, everyone's like, oh, look at this Colorado team. Look for Cody Williams. Cody Williams doesn't even start. Like, it just shows, like, he's got so much potential, and obviously that's why they're picking him. But, like, this dude, like, there's, like, 2 or 3 other players on that team that are playing better than him.
Would Cody Williams be on the radar as much if it wasn't for his older brother doing so well?
Yes, because the guy played absolute monster basketball in high school. He was an absolute stud.
I didn't know. I was not familiar with this game back in the day.
Yes.
And so,
all right, Shaq.
I was not familiar with this game.
No, this guy was one of those guys where he was so good, and then it was like, oh yeah, and guess what? It's Jalen Williams' brother. Like, McDonald's All-American, absolute baller. Like, the thing is, like, if you look at Colorado's roster, De Silva, he's playing better than Cody Williams right now. KJ Simpson is their best player, and everything flows through him. If KJ Simpson doesn't play well, good luck, Colorado. I'm picking Boise here. I love Boise. They were a team that I pegged to be a first-round upset kind of team, and then they got the 10 seed. I was like, ooh, give me that. But if it's Colorado, I'm picking Florida.
I think that's fair. But there's not really a good way to do that. So we're just going to ride with the 10 seed. Seems like a nice little upset. I lost the track of things.
It's yours. Your turn.
Oh, perfect. I was going to pick it up anyways. The 2 seed Marquette taking on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, 15th seed here. Western Kentucky, weirdly, not like weirdly pretty good basketball history. And look, in my own personal bracket, I already have a 15 seed winning. as much as I love Toppy, that came off wrong. As much as I love Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, I'm not rolling with them here. Give me Marquette.
Do you know that? Can you tell me the arena's name that Western Kentucky plays in?
I can't.
It's Diddle Arena. EA Diddle Arena. Can you imagine Toppy running around in Diddle Arena?
Getting you from all angles, I guess.
Oh boy, jeez. Okay,
give me Marquette. Marquette's kind of like falling off though. Like I worry about them right now in terms of just like health, and also just momentum. But we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, well, for the sake of speed, Marquette, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, not gonna be Toppy. Oh God, I thought we were done with the first round after.
No,
we are not.
We are not. I feel like every time it's 90 minutes. 90 minutes for one round. I don't remember how far we went last time. I this feels faster than last year, but here we are, hour and 10 minutes in. All right, so someone's bought dog.
That's my barking. Dog. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like 10:30 at night. Chill out, Ivy.
Anyways, Jamison, who do we got?
Purdue versus Grambling and
Montana State.
Montana State. Give me Purdue next.
Give me Purdue as well.
Oh,
Grambling's first time in the tournament, though. I like
Good
that.
For Grambling. All right, Blake, who do we got? I know you're excited about this one, maybe.
So yes, yeah, I actually am excited about this. So probably one of my more least favorite teams in the Mountain West. I love the conference, but Utah State versus the TCU Horned Frogs. I'm a known Jim Dixon hater. I hate my coach. I was drawing a little bit in my notebook today while I was at work. Just a little like love-hate matrix with like how I perceive success versus failure.
Middle school? You're right.
Just like a little cross, just like a little cross graph. The far bottom quarter of that I know is going to do horrible and hate is San Diego City. And then like maybe slightly above that was TCU, just because I do think we're going to win this game. Utah State, they're kind of a one-trick pony. The teams I don't like in March, they just love to shoot. They love to shoot a lot of threes, have a lot of those white Mormon guys that just, they're BYU light. And I guess that's the best compliment I can give them. But Jamie Dixon has been really successful, I feel like, in the round of 32 games. We've been in this position before, 8 versus 9, beat Seton Hall. If we're ever in the 8-9 position where we can go against a team that I feel like is of equal caliber, we'll probably win that one. We're especially for some of these like the first round games, we love to muck it up, we love to run, best fast break team in America, whatever that gets you an 8 seed. TCU fans celebrate that. I'm just like whatever, because it hasn't actually shown results in the regular season, but I think it gets the Utah State team. It's just too much athleticism that they don't see in their conference, so I'm taking the Horned Frogs to move on.
As much as I'd love to troll, I'm with you. I think TCU, they're nothing special, but I feel like they can get the job done in a situation like this. Utah State really underwhelmed in their tournament. And Danny Sprinkle, their head coach, is rumored for jobs elsewhere. Does he have, 1 foot out of the door? Maybe. I'm going to go with TCU to win this one, though. I feel like sometimes when teams get underseeded like this, it's a little hard to shake it off. So give me the Frogs.
TCU is going to have a big time win. They're going to win by double digits. Blake's hope's going to get up a little bit for this Purdue matchup. Simple as that.
It happens every year. We've seen it last year versus Gonzaga. I felt confident going into that game. And then the year before, Arizona. We usually perform in the round of 32 in the sense of keeping games close, but haven't made it happen yet. And
we'll talk more about that round of 32 matchup later. Should be pretty fun. But next up, we've got Gonzaga, the 5th seed, taking on McNeese. And this feels like a pretty tasty 12 seed. I'm going to roll with McNeese here. Gonzaga, I feel like, hasn't quite been what they have been recently. I know Blake mentioned they were running pretty hot there in the in their conference tournament. But I don't know, riding with the McNeese vibe here.
I think that was me who mentioned that.
It was you.
And yeah, you're just thinking because why would Jamison be talking about?
It melds together.
Yeah, which is completely fair. Gonzaga, I feel like if you're talking about Blake, I want to hear what Blake says. McNeese is a really good team. Don't get me wrong. Will Wade obviously being a big proponent of that. The guy's a really good basketball coach. But I think counting out Gonzaga as a ball not nor take. I think Gonzaga should be able to handle them. They got one of the better point guards in the nation, one of the Nembhard brothers. Ryan Nembhard has transferred from over Creighton. He's been handling things well. He's getting double-digit assists left and right. They've got not a star on their team, something that's been weird to say for Gonzaga for the past couple of years, but they've got a solid team. And I think that team can withstand this McNeese team and win this one. So give me Gonzaga.
Yep, it's the classic overhyped 12 seed that I am not buying. Everybody and their mother is going to be on McNeese State this year. And I understand it. Will Wade's a good coach. He's obviously taken a team that I think it's an 18 or 19 win difference versus last year. That is insane when you think about a conference like the Southland. It's a bad conference, but it has you kind of all meet in the middle because nobody's can ever be spectacular. But the one thing I feel like people are discounting, it's Gonzaga, although they don't have a star that they can go far, they have no pressure. It's I feel like Gonzaga always crumbles under the pressure of what they've built up to when they're a 1 or a 2 seed. They usually I think Mark Few in the last 7 or 8 years reached the Sweet 16 every time. So they do at least good enough to get to the second weekend. But you think of the Gonzaga pressure where they fold is more later in the year. And McNeese State, they're a 12 seed. I get it because of their record. But another one of those, I'm just looking at who they played. It's their signature win this year was against Michigan. Michigan won 8 games this year. They're
Michigan miserable.
And it's they played the only other team they played near or in the top 100 barely of KenPom. 95 Louisiana Tech lost to them. It's just they haven't played anybody good. Will Wade's a good enough coach that in a conference like the Southland, it's you're going to beat these inferior teams just off of strategy, just off of the guys that you got. Another TCU defector, which is the one I'm sad about. Shahada Wells is fantastic there. He should be getting, if Will Wade leaves, he's going to get some serious interest. I wanted Shahada Wells to say so bad. He was our 6th man. He was incredible, but I just think Gonzaga, no pressure. I'm not buying the McNeese hype. They're not the mid-major team that I'm buying, so give me Gonzaga.
Yeah, it was Jamison? 23 losses last year. And then Will Wade was I promised you that I'm going to have 23 wins. And then goes out, has 31. It's
he's a really good coach. He's a really good coach, but it's just there's also Mark Few is a very good coach. He's proven it time and time again. So I just don't. This is honestly a bad 5 seed draw. Even though Gonzaga's not elite, just bad in sense of culture, coaching. Gonzaga comes prepared for the tournament.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Kansas, the 4 seed, playing Samford 13, and I feel a lot of people are going to have McNeese 12, Samford 13, and pegged into their bracket. Oh, McNeese moving on to the Sweet 16. I think Kansas handles Samford because people are counting out right now Kansas because the injuries. Hunter Dickinson has a shoulder injury. He's already been practicing. He's going to play. Kevin McCullough's got a bone bruise in his knee, but they held him out for precautionary reasons. This is an older injury. This is something that he's still not going to be completely 100% for, but he should be playing in the tournament. Both of those guys are most likely going to play unless something crazy happens until then. Both of those guys are playing Kansas as a 4 seed versus Samford. I don't think that they're going to lose. Give me Kansas.
Yep. Samford, another popular pick. Bucky Ball down in the SoCon. Bobby, do you like the SoCon?
Yeah.
Do you like to soak on these nuts, boy?
I didn't really give you the answer. I didn't really give you the answer you wanted, but
but had to go with it because they are not going on to the next round. But yeah, it's Kansas. Bill Self's he is a master in the sense of he knew the Big 12 tournament didn't matter to them. He's gonna rest his guys, get them ready. Samford, although good offense, great defense, pretty decent offense when you're talking about a mid-major team, can't shoot free throws though, and that's been. If you look back, one of the key metrics is what are the Cinderellas doing well that they're able to upset these good teams? It's free throws. Because at the end of the day, even if you get hot from three as a mid-major, come out, you're winning by double digits, these power programs will come back. And it'll come down to those final few minutes, and it's whether you can hit those free throws. Samford can't. I gotta go Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going to go with KU as well, just because I feel like with the injury, the return of Dickinson and, McCullers, I think that changes things for them. Blake, you and I talking in the tournament, we said if they can't go, they're going to be completely screwed.
Yeah, and they were.
Well, not only were they screwed, but they've had plenty of time to mull it over, lick their wounds, and get things figured out. I'm going to go with the Jayhawks here. Yeah. So, anyways, Blake, who do we got next?
So we have Rodney Terry and the Texas Longhorns in the 7th seed versus.
No. You're
South
Carolina.
Oh, shoot! It moved down. I was looking at the bottom one. There we go. Okay, so we got 6th seed South Carolina versus 11 Oregon. I don't like either of these ones. If I'm gonna be honest, it's this game is such a wash. I'll just give a little tip of the hat to South Carolina. Lamont Paris being able to take this program to do something. I'm not super impressed when I watch them, but they did something in the SEC, which was a really strong conference this year. I'll go South Carolina. So,
yeah, I'm going to go with the Cox as well, just because, SEC pride, I guess. I don't know. Just kidding.
Bobby's already feeling it. SEC.
Yeah, just for the brand, let's go with the Gamecocks. As noted before, this Oregon team, not that great, got hot.
Got hot in the Pac-12. Congratulations.
Right, exactly. Not a very good place to get hot at. It does
and their
not
best
matter.
player, Nafali Dante, he was just putting shoulders in people and shuffling his feet and taking 3 steps at a time and getting no travel calls. I was getting mad. I was actually cheering for Colorado in that one, Blake. But give me South Carolina here. I don't really have much to say other than hating on Oregon.
Yeah, if you won the Pac-12 championship and no one was there to watch it, did you actually win anything? Just saying. Anyways, moving on to our next game. We got Creighton, the 3rd seed, taking on the 14th seeded Akron Zips. Gonna go Creighton here.
There's a thought in the back of my head that Creighton's got too much hype here, and there's just something weird saying Akron, they've got a chance. They could do it. They've got some of the same guys on those big-time run teams. They're still there. But I like Creighton too much. They have a lot of great pieces, and I love Kalkbrenner. I think Kalkbrenner is just a disaster for a team like Akron. They're going to have a lot of trouble with him. So give me Creighton, but I don't think this is a runaway pick. I don't think this is something we can brush away.
I can kind of agree with that. It feels like Akron's playing hot at the right moments, but I like Creighton too much. Baylor Shireman, Kalkbrenner, they have just some dudes. They have some dudes on that side of the ball, and it's just it's such a shame. I know Nimhard has found his home at Gonzaga and is playing well, but I feel like that's what Creighton needs just to get him over the top this year. It sucks. It's the rare weird transfer where it's Creighton brought everybody back from a team last year that frankly, if it wasn't for some bad ref calls, should have made the Final Four. I feel like you got to run that back, but Nimhard felt differently. But, yeah, I want to see my man Trey Alexander do well, so send him on Creighton.
I don't know what it is. I think I've just watched Creighton a lot this year, and every time I watch them, they just give me a heart attack. They just play a lot of games really close, and I just don't know. I don't know what – there's something inside of me saying I think that they can get upset, but I just don't have the balls to pick it in my bracket.
It's if Creighton had come into the season, I think, ranked 25 – everybody would feel better about them, but it was the fact they were ranked so high, the preseason expectations. You're bringing back a squad that is super, super talented, super experienced, and it just never feel like they put their like foot on somebody's throat and just like crushed them. It's just they're always playing around with their food.
Mm-hmm. All right, is it me?
It's you. Yep.
All right, we got Texas Longhorns playing the winner of Virginia and Colorado State. I think this Virginia basketball team's a really good one. I think that we're getting a lot of hate from them. Just Bobby's face. Bobby got pissed. Woo! Ooh.
I know, Bobby. I'll give it. Boomer Bob came out and he was in full force defending why OU should be in the tournament, which is probably more correct. But he was.
They should be there more than Virginia. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah.
I think
I'll put it this way. I was so upset that my wife looked at me and asked me, "Hey, is everything okay?" And I told her. That was the moment I realized I needed to calm down a little bit because I was texting like so angrily, defending the honor of our mediocre basketball team. But
It is the bubble. The bubble is the funniest thing in college basketball because college football playoff, like you feel rightfully screwed because in the past few years it's 4 teams. But it's so funny whenever, like, and I would get it. If I was in Bobby's position, I would be just as mad. But it's like, there's 68 teams in this bad boy. Like, there are 68 teams, and you're like, we deserve to be in, like, because we went 40% against quad 1 instead of 35. Like, we were right there. It's just, it's a funny thing, and, like, I understand. It's if your team is the one that gets screwed, you're always gonna go to bat for them. But it's like, when you're comparing them, it's like, they had 5 quad 1 wins versus 11 quad 1 losses versus 3 quad 1 wins and 7 quad 1 losses. You're just like, oof, like you're telling me
you got left out because of injuries to their best players, and that is Exhibit A, and then their momentum at the end of the season, Exhibit B. It's as simple as that. And whenever you're a bubble team, there is a chance you can be left out. And it can be sad and maddening whenever there's teams that you feel like that you could have got in over. And I think that there are some teams that OU deserved in to be more of that. But I see why the committee says J.V. McCollum's hurt. Rivaldo Suarez is hurt. And the way that this team has played has been less than inspiring to the end of the season. So I am a big-time OU fan. I watch every single one of these basketball games, and I get hurt just as much. But I see the reasoning there. And I see Bobby shaking his head. I understand your frustration. I'm just taking it from the other perspective because I know a lot of OU fans aren't looking at the side that I'm looking at.
No, and I get it when you look at, their performance against, teams in the tournament, specifically on the back end of things. I get that. I just feel like the resume was good enough to get in.
They were good enough, but unfortunately, when you're a bubble team, sometimes it's your bubble burst, and sometimes you hop on the bubble and you hop into the tournament.
And it was a historically massive bubble smashing Saturday too.
It was probably
and it was really really bad.
Yeah,
it took a historic 5 bids stolen, and you're the first team out. Like that's part of it. I get that. It's the UVA thing. That's the thing, is all of the reasoning in the world is I get it. And then I see UVA there and I'm like, the only reason their ass is in there is because of the logo, because of their tradition as a basketball school. That is why they're there. I could have lived. Man, I'm telling you, I could have lived with Seton Hall there. I could have lived with Indiana State there. But it's like, not UVA.
Seton Hall deserved it. That's the real one. That's
over 500 in the second best league in the country, and you don't make it. That is wild.
That having Georgetown and DePaul on your schedule just really, really pumps down some of your advanced analytics in terms of strength of schedule. That is tough.
It is so wild, though, that it's like, you look at the 3 Big East teams that got in, they got a 1, a 2, and a 3 seed, so you're like, obviously they must have great resumes, good conference play, and then they just discounted the entire Big East after that. It makes no sense in my mind, how you can every advanced analytics, and I know that's only like a fraction of what they put in, but like the Big East was considered the second best conference in the country. And it's like how you somehow only gave them 3 bids and you underseeded the Mountain West all at once. It just doesn't compute with my mind. It's like put one of those, and especially the Big East is interesting. They have brands like you're telling me that St. John, if they weren't in the tournament, wouldn't bring eyeballs. Rick Pitino back in the tournament,
Right.
like he was bringing eyeballs with Iona, and like they were actually packing the Garden this year for whiteouts for this team. It doesn't. It's a weird case. I don't get it.
There had to be
Seton
some
Hall-
scenario where they feel like Seton Hall probably deserved it, but we can't put them in just after St. John's beat them by 19. And then it's like I can't put in both of them because we're gonna want to put in Michigan State, so then we'll leave both of them out. And it's just a weird scenario.
Didn't Seton Hall beat UConn?
Yeah, and but then they, like, the committee turned it around on him, and it's like Donovan Clingan was injured for half the game, like, he went out, so how much, and I'm like, we're not talking about college football where it's 12 games, we've played about 30 games for all these teams, like, random crap happens in basketball, like, that's just the fact of it, and Donovan Clingan going out was big, but they played for about a month where they only lost maybe 1 game. Like, they played great basketball even without him. It's like, it still means something. And so the fact that OU, I understand a little bit. It's like they had the negative momentum, the losing record in conference, and I felt like a non-conference that kind of got spoiled by the end of the year a little bit. Like, they had some good wins, but like
Iowa.
Like USC, Iowa, like that went poorly for them. But yeah, Seton Hall's the one. I just feel they went.
I love.
They had a winning record.
I was gonna pick them in the first round, no matter who they played.
They had a winning record in conference, and a really good conference, and just didn't make it.
Yeah. And I mean,
which is wild to me.
And then think about like a pretty good win disaster.
It's
there.
like beating Muss. You're like, yes, and
then they collapse. Yeah, it pisses me off. But anyways, we've talked enough about that. Let's get into the Texas
hater
Texas.
I would say it's gonna be UVA is gonna spite us, and they're gonna win 2 games in the conference. I love Colorado State, but I feel like they're gonna do something dumb like that.
What do you think of Ryan Dunn as a prospect, Blake? You done much research into Ryan Dunn of UVA? This dude has the most anemic offensive game ever. Stellar defense, and he's gonna get picked high in the NBA because he's gonna be a project. He's gonna be like a nothing on the offensive side, and he's going to really, really piss off some people in the NBA. Just watch it.
2.0.
Honestly.
For sure. All right. Okay, let's move on to our next, our final game of the first round. Believe it or not, we finally made it. The number 2 seeded Tennessee Volunteers and the darlings of the tournament a couple years ago, the St. Peter's Peacocks. That's the thing, is whenever you have a darling team like that, they never usually come back unless you have a delightful nun to carry the way, so, the Peacocks, they don't have Sister Jean. And because of that, we're going to go with Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Volunteers. Because look, hey, that's a pretty juicy round of 32 matchup. So, let's go with Tennessee.
I think it was Blake's turn. I'll let Blake go here.
Tennessee.
I didn't know whose turn it was, so I just started
it's just gonna Tennessee, Texas, Rick Barnes matchup's gonna be fun. Everyone knows that's coming.
For sure. All right. That is the end of round 1. We're gonna go ahead and clip that here and call that for part 1 of our
Megapod. Give me Megapod.
No, we're gonna finish this out like on live. So if you want to see part 2, it'll be in your podcast feed. But if you're watching live, stick with us. Let's dive in and get right to it, though. The number 1 seeded UConn Huskies and the 9th seed Northwestern Wildcats.
You can
Blake
just start.
I'll go on this, even though I love Boo Booey and Northwestern. Boo Booey. UConn. Bobby Hurley, and that I mean, they just have this thing rolling. So UConn.
Yeah, here's the thing about UConn that I feel like people are quick to talk about this team and they're like, oh, the first name you think of Klingon first, right, Bobby?
Yeah.
But they've just got so much more than that. Their guards are just stellar. Like Tristan Newton, absolutely great.
Fantastic.
Stephen Castle, like Cam Spencer, they've got such a deep, solid team with not a lot of weaknesses. Like it's really, really hard to nitpick this UConn team.
Yep, they're like last year Incarnate 2.0, just have solid all-around play that this year they actually were able to put the regular season results with it. I love Boo Booey. R.I.P. Boo Booey. He could be, like, if Northwestern's going to make a run, he's going to be a star. Like, there's no way that if Northwestern goes far into this, he isn't the poster boy. I've seen him doing against Illinois earlier this year. He's a fantastic guard. But, yep, UConn moves on.
Talking about Stephen Castle, do you see that he's projected as number 1 in KOC's NBA mock draft that he just posted? Like, that's just nuts to think. I feel like no one's talking about Stephen Castle this year. Like, nobody. And
this NBA draft is going to be some dumb takes when we look back on
bad.
It. Like, some really bad.
Nobody knows anything about this draft.
I'm a big Reed Shepherd guy, but I saw like the ring.
He had him number 1.
Bit. And I was like, oh quick. Jesus Christ!
He changed it quick.
Yeah,
he's got him number 3 right now in the mock draft.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, nobody knows. But
I love Reed Shepherd. Great call.
I love him. Like I love him, but like, is he number 1 pick? No, but I'm like, I love him.
Stay tuned. I love this Kentucky team.
All right, Jamison, who we got next?
We got UAB and Auburn. UAB, I'm telling you, that was just a spite pick because I really just don't think the San Diego State team's that good. It's really fun to support San Diego State, but in all actuality, I just don't believe in this team too much. They probably will win round 1, but give me Auburn. I really like this Auburn team. They've got a lot of redeeming factors that gets me kind of excited, and it's such a shame, really, for this UConn team that they're going to have to face Auburn in Sweet 16. That is a team that should not be facing UConn. It just makes me so mad. Like, John is such a good player, and Jalen Williams, great defender on the outside. Like, they've got some really good guys in that Auburn team. It just does not make any sense. Give me Auburn.
Yep. See, I'm with Auburn. Bruce Pearl seems like he can coach in March now that he's at Auburn. He has something to him. I think this Auburn team's so well-rounded. I think they're top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency metrics. They're fantastic. Sets up I think a really interesting Sweet 16. Like, I think people have UConn going all the way easy, but I think sets up a really interesting Sweet 16 matchup. So,
I agree. I think this might be they're probably their toughest matchup that they'll have until the Final Four.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's Auburn here. I think that'll be a banger too. Blake, who do we got next?
I guess. God dang it. This is why we don't
announce it for everyone.
This is why we don't do bummy matchups and choose these games like this.
Announce it.
The number 6 seed BYU Cougars going up against number 14 Morehead State. There's no business being in here. But like I said, there is no chance BYU makes it to the Sweet 16. I'm going to be right about that. I don't think Morehead State's going to make it to the Sweet 16, but I'm damn sure BYU isn't going to. So I say send on Morehead State.
Yes,
you gotta. Yep.
Bring on Morehead.
Yep. Some team has to get there. Some random Cinderella has to get there. So I guess this is gonna be ours.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, Bobby, you agreeing with us?
Of course, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, we didn't bring him this far to lose to BY freaking U.
Right?
No,
Riley Minix. Remember the name.
Yeah, we're advancing Morehead there. Next up, we've got a big one. Drake, the 10 seed, and number 2 Iowa State. This is this will be a spicy one in the state of Iowa. Drake over in Des Moines, not very far from Ames. So yeah, this will be a fun one. And I think this one's in Omaha. So yeah, this one will be a good one. I like Drake here. I think Iowa State, they're just one of those teams that they're really good at conference tournaments, not very good when you get to the big dance. I think Drake upends them here.
No, that's wrong. I don't think Drake's going to make it out of round one. The Coop is going to take him down, going to hurt y'all a little bit on the inside. Give me Iowa State here. They've got too much of really good defensive play that I just don't see a team like Drake moving on.
I need to write a manifesto next year because one of the tenets would easily be don't trust Iowa State in the tournament. I don't care what they did this year. I don't care if that little number next to their name is a little bit higher on it. I don't trust them. I'd rather take Drake. Like that was in my bracket. I have Drake over Iowa State in this matchup. I have to take it. I'm not going to be influenced by other people. Tucker DeVries, it just feels like they are on the precipice of something, but this is so dirty. It cannot be 14. It cannot be Morehead State versus Drake. That is not going to happen, but I can't trust Iowa State, and I'm not going to take them late into my bracket, so I have to eliminate them at some point. I'm going to eliminate them early just to like make myself look smart, but yeah.
Man,
Drake
Morehead State's got a matchup.
One of these teams is making an Elite Eight, sadly. One of these teams is making an Elite Eight.
I cannot wait to pick Morehead State over UConn. It is happening.
I love how we pin this bracket as the bracket of death because of how many conference champions are in it. And if UConn wins their next matchup, they have Drake or Morehead State in our bracket. So really made it hard on them, you know.
Putting them through the ringer there. All right, Jameson, who we got next?
All right, we got North Carolina versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, once again, they're so hot and cold. North Carolina is also a team that, in this bracket, I continuously look, and I'm like, where can I find an L from North Carolina? I don't think it's yet, but talk to me next matchup. Give me North Carolina and move on.
I'm one of the rare. I like Chris Jans and Mississippi State in this matchup. I think they're just going to muck it up enough. I agree with you, Jamison. UNC is vulnerable. I think something random like this is going to happen. Hubert Davis is the luckiest son of a gun in this entire world. That the fact that he sent Coach K on that ultimate retirement tour ending, because that has bought him a few more years. And although they're good in the ACC, it's just I don't know. I trust. I
love RJ Davis.
Jay Davis. I know.
Love him.
He's getting a lot better. But still worries me a little bit. There's nothing that maybe it's because I've seen this core play out for so long that I've seen RJ Davis play. He's been fantastic this year, a little sketchy the years before, and like I just think at this point I'm like, who's their number two? Armando Bacot? Like he's a non-factor to me at this point. Like he seems like he is just a guy.
Everyone thought he was.
Yep, like he's a bum. So I want to choose something feisty. I want Mississippi State to go over North Carolina right here.
UNC's not losing in Charlotte. I'm just saying that. I'm going to go with the Tar Heels here. That would be catastrophic. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go with the Tar Heels here. I'm not super big on them either. I just don't think they lose here.
So now, to me, honestly, a great 4-5 matchup. We got Alabama versus St. Mary's, and this one's easy for me. It's St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's defends well. I think St. Mary's slows down the game, which I think is going to really hurt Alabama. Like, Alabama just wants to get out there, run, shoot threes. I think it's going to hurt them whenever they come out early, trying to run down, shoot a three. St. Mary's grabs a rebound and drains 30 to maybe a minute off the shot clock when it comes to offensive rebounds. Like, I just think the St. Mary's team is like, we've finally gotten to the point, like St. Mary's has just been building year after year after year. It's like they've always been good. They've always been a tournament team. It feels like they're always like that 11 seed or something. Like they can win that first round matchup, but can't. This team feels different. This team feels different. I'm going to take them over Bama. I just think they slow it down too much. And Nate Oates is like, I think he's going to be one of those overrated March coaches. I feel like he plays that NBA regular season style of game where it's layups and 3-pointers. They'll like statistically win you more games during the regular season. But when things kind of crunch up and people get a little close and you got to make those big shots, you can't just like lean on that game plan. So give me St. Mary's.
I mean, Blake, you know it as well as anyone. You know, Alabama, you know, they're the best version of themselves last year. They got crunched up by San Diego State, and I feel like St. Mary's.
I will say this isn't a pot. This is just pointing out a fact. San Diego City slows it down. Like they slow it down big time.
Right, and I think we've seen how that works in the tournament, and I think St. Mary's, that style gets them again. So give me the Gales to advance.
Agreed. I like St. Mary's here as well.
Are they the Gales? What are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad I know that one.
Right.
Yeah. St. Mary's Gales. I was like, that feels like Iona. It is Iona, but weird that there are multiple Gales. Anyways, Jamison, or no, it's me. Next up, we've got the New Mexico Lobos against the Baylor Bears. And you know what? I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to go with the Lobos here. Baylor, they have their moments where they look really good, can be a little inconsistent, and I'm really not kind of feeling them this year. So we're going to go in New Mexico.
Yeah, I think New Mexico is a fun team. I'm thinking about it. Screw it, let's do it. New Mexico. Give me Mashburn. Give me some House. Give me some Toppin. They've just got a really good team. Like, it's a really fun team to get behind. I feel like a lot of people are going to put New Mexico Sweet 16 in their bracket. Screw it, I'll do it too.
Yeah, I am with y'all. I'm a big Scott Drew supporter, but this New Mexico team gets me going. And it's like Jamison mentioned today, he was like, the West worries me. Oh, the West. And I was like, the ball nowhere's out there. Know the path. New Mexico is definitely a part of this path. I will say that. In this region. Oh, the Lobos. They excite me. They've burned. It's been the most love-hate relationship with this team. Like, beyond UNLV, it's been in basketball, the Lobos. And in the pit, I will bet some games, and I'll bet some of my more higher wagers on this team. They've won me few, lost me many, but it keeps me coming back. It's always the heartbreakers. They play close. I love them. I can't separate myself from them. Give me the Lobos.
I feel like I have witnessed in like a single calendar year, multiple times, you watching New Mexico on your phone, like not melting down, but nearly melting down over a brutal loss. So to have them this far, I feel like we should know better, but here we are.
It's Jamison's bachelor party at like 2 a.m. I was just ranting in the streets of
Bourbon.
New Orleans about the long-haired guy from Boise State that like hit a last second, like it was like double overtime versus them, and hit a last second shot to beat him, and I was so pissed. I could not. I love this team now. I love this team though. I love them.
Fair enough. Jamison, who we got next?
Oh, shoot. I was not ready. I'm in a complete other tab. Oh, where am I?
No.
All right. We're playing Arizona and Dayton. Arizona. Don't really have much to say. I'll talk a little bit about Arizona. Caleb Love, I'm not going to talk much about. I think he's a guy who could really screw them, or he could do something really great. But everyone likes the big boy Ballo. So give me Ballo just to push them all and just give Dayton some issues.
Oh, this one's hard. My golden plan with this West region was Dayton would not be here. It'd be Nevada over Arizona. It's perfect match made in heaven, but I've already pointed out Dayton's a whole bunch of fraud, so I will push on, I guess, Arizona in this scenario, but it sucks. Dayton's not good. They're not good. They're going to lose first round. Very bad. I promise you that.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna go Arizona as well. Dayton's just okay, even though I had them advancing. It's just not super thrilled about it. I think Arizona stumbles their way in here. Okay. Next one up, Blake. Who we got?
Easy. Houston. Houston's gonna be hell for some team. Some team probably will beat them at some point, but they are hell. Besides Iowa State with their juice crowds when it comes to Kansas City, like I said, there are a whole bunch of home merchants. That's why I didn't have them going on. Home merchants and KC, that's basically like their second home. I saw the Power and Light District literally was packed full of Iowa State fans. Do they not have jobs? Do none of them have jobs that they could actually go to these
self-employed farmers?
Wait. Now I think about it, Iowa State's going to be in Omaha, which is actually closer to them than Kansas City is.
God, that's bad.
Oh,
the home merchants. No. They can only win when it's home field, but Bobby, that has me worried. There's no takesy backsies, but that if the listeners are still listening to this point, that has me a little bit worried. Like, I guess that whole state has no jobs because they are there.
Close too, so they can go. So they'll like split it out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Do the Drake people have
jobs? I don't know.
Like they packed all of T-Mobile Arena, and then they panned over to the Power Light District, and they packed it just as much of a USA World Cup game for like a Big 12 semifinal. It makes no sense. It makes no sense how they can have that many fans there.
It's their Super Bowl. It's like they're OU Texas. They get up for it.
I know. And it's like, that's the only thing they can hope for because they can't win the actual Big 12 regular season title. So they have to, like, get it basically a home field advantage title that they can win, that they can tout and show people, look, we're good at basketball. Haven't done anything in March. Which I understand is not everything. March Madness is not everything. But you have to eventually do something if you're going to get in that echelon of trash talk that they want to be in.
Yeah, I could see Omaha being pretty packed out for that, but it's a little different once you get to the tournament. I mean, we've seen Kansas teams multiple times completely, poop the bed in KC, in regionals. So it's not exactly like, a foolproof thing once you get to the big boy tournament. So, anyways.
But Houston.
Houston over Texas A&M. By the way, we didn't announce who they were playing.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, it's okay. I agree. Houston over A&M here.
Next.
That's right. Next up, we've got the number 4 seed Duke Blue Devils against Wisconsin. I believe this is a national championship rematch from like 10 years ago. Let's go with the Badgers. Honestly, yeah. This Duke team feels a little fraudulent.
Hate. No. No. I think Duke. Let me tell you something, Blake. Last year at this time, we were talking about the diaper dandy of Kyle Filipowski.
Oh, God.
We were talking about the diaper dandy, and he's turned right back. And let me tell you something. Jay Billis has really opened my eyes to this guy. He is a national treasure, so that should be protected.
Of course, Jay Billis has opened your eyes to a Duke player. That's all he talks about.
I know. No. Part of that has to be Andrew Schlecht there, Jamison.
No. I'm just making fun of the whole Jay Billis thing, where it's like he got all mad about the court storming.
And
Kyle Filipowski. But yes, Andrew Schlecht loves him, obviously.
Yes.
But this Duke team, it's really, when it comes down to it, they have their deficiencies, but Wisconsin, I think they're good enough to get by, but I think Duke has too much talent. It'll be a really close game. It's going to be a really fun one to watch. So give me Duke.
This one's hard for me. TBH, I want to see like Kyle Filipowski and everything he's done this year, from the court storming to the tripping. This is good for basketball. This is good. I hate Kyle Filipowski because I think last year he was boring, getting a lot of hype. Duke just didn't feel the same. Duke has a potential this tournament run to really cement them again as the villains. I need more tripping. I need more dirty plays from them. I kind of need that back. Like, that's the thing I miss about Coach K, is not Coach K being around, but it's the hate that he brings, that everybody, regardless of you, it's you versus this one small little private school in North Carolina, and that is a fun feeling. Selfishly, I want to bring that back. Selfishly, I really want to bring that back. I think I agree with Jamison. This one's going to be really close. Like, for a round of 32 game, this is going to be awesome. But give me Duke. I need the villains. I need the villains in the sport. We're missing the stars, and we're missing the villains.
Do they have somebody else on this Duke team that can be a villain, like Roach or Proctor, or like?
No, not as. Or really, I guess
obvious.
Was it or? I think Jared McCain is a villain in the sense that, like, the TikTok generation, he became popular in high school on TikTok.
That is true.
And so people hate him for that. Like, the olds are like, that kid on social media, which
he's
I'm
on and off the court is the first thing you look at whenever you type him in on Google. That's legitimately the first video.
And so it's like one of those things. It's like I really could care less if you're popular on like social media. Like that doesn't. I'm not like an old in that sense. But like I guess he's the second most hateable. But you need Kyle.
Christ.
What?
Over under how many followers he's got on Instagram. I'm gonna give me a number, Blake.
2.3 million.
Oh, it's less than that. Okay, I still
okay. Oh shit! I shot big. I shot big.
I still think
I shot big. I shot big.
Is a lot. So yes, I guess Garrett McCain can be a hater.
He can. It's just like you need, not to be stereotypical here, but you need the villain white Duke guy. Like you need your Grayson Allen. Like you just need that guy that it's like, which is surprising because it's like I always say it's like you feel the Duke villain vibe gives that. They're gonna win more off the court in the sense of like their next job versus on the court, but they all end up being pretty good like role players in the NBA. It's like JJ Redick made a name for himself. Grayson Allen seems to be carving out himself as a good bench guy. So like they can,
continuing to do exactly what he did at Duke.
Yep, it's just like they can kind of continue that role forever. So. But yeah, it's better. It's so much better. Like when Duke has the hateable guy, it really is.
I think that's fair. And, I think a part of it is Wisconsin is, I think, overall pretty likable. I don't think a lot of people really dislike Wisconsin. So this is like, how on Game of Thrones, you really like, a character and you're like, yeah, I hope they triumph over this, evil dude.
Like Ramsey.
This is, Duke is Ramsey Bolton. Ramsey Bolton would be a killer Duke villain.
Menace as a point guard for Duke would be a menace.
A defensive he would have been absolute menace. All ACC first team all defense. That sort of guy. Maybe a 3-and-D type of guy. You never know, but. Yeah.
You need it because I've rooted for Duke even with Coach K there with the RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson years. Like I wanted to see them do well, and you need that. You need that hateable presence on that roster.
It's never the fun Duke teams. It's always the crappy ones that you don't like and just ruin everything.
I just saw a video of Coach K at a casino slamming the $100 bets on slot machines. He was just hitting it over and over, and no wins.
Damn.
He can go to those high roller rooms. Like he probably, I imagine he did not spend much money while he was coaching. I see him as that type. He probably had a nice house, but that was about it.
He needs to hit up the hot stuff slots, get a little luck going. He's probably making the mistake of playing rich little piggies.
Jamison was trying to see, is like, hey, is he on the piggies? Did he see a fat one? Like, I'd love a video of Coach K being like, oh, that piggy's fat. And he's just like slamming.
That one's about to pop, you see. Yeah, no. Anyways. All right, let's move. Blake, let's move on to our next game. Who we got?
I want to see this Kentucky team go far. This is another selfish one. I think Tech honestly plays them pretty close here for some reason. The thing that worries me about Kentucky is the youth. It's like we've seen it in the regular season. They go up and down, whether they can get out in space, run with the ball, shoot the ball. They do not want to play defense. They do not want to play defense at all, which it does not like spell well for them like to win a national championship, but they have talent. Like this is a weak NBA draft year, but they probably have 3 lottery picks, right, Jamison? They have Reed Shepherd, DJ Wagner, and oh my God, who am I forgetting?
So they've got Shepherd, Dillingham,
Robert, Robert Dillingham, but they have talent. So give me KU, or not KU, UK. That's bad.
No, it's fine. I'm not feeling this Texas Tech team that much. I think Kentucky pulls it out.
Yeah, I really like this. Like I said earlier, Texas Tech, but something about them has soured me this past month, and I just can't put my finger on it. And I really like this Kentucky team. We say like, oh yeah, they're just gonna fall apart because they have youth. Like some of their best players on this team are older guys. So like Antonio Reeves, as a senior, has been there. He's a great scorer for them. But also you've got like the way that, and I hate that I'm talking about a bench player, but like the way Reed Shepard plays, it's not like your ordinary true freshman.
It's saying bench player is very generous. Like he is a significant. It's like bringing James Harden off the bench.
Exactly, but the way Reed Shepard,
he's closing games,
and he's not like your traditional like Kentucky freshman that just like he's not like Dillingham, you know. Like this guy is just like high basketball IQ, does the right thing at all right times, an extremely efficient player. Like those are the type of guys that really, really do well in the tournament. And it's not your traditional Kentucky young guys and then they just move on.
Yeah. Okay. So Kentucky moves on. Next up, we've got the winner of Boise State, Colorado versus Marquette. I guess Marquette, honestly, because I think Boise's good enough to get one game. I don't see two, and definitely not Colorado. So yeah, we're gonna go with the Golden Eagles here.
Yeah, I think really the big thing here is people are worried about Tyler Kolek's injury. Like Tyler Kolek's a baller. Like he's got an oblique, so that could be a lot of things. You know, like obliques can have like. He can just play through it and he can be fine. Or that could be something that's just going to mess with him for like the entirety of the tournament. I truly don't know. That worries me. I don't think Boise or Colorado can beat Marquette, but that's something to keep a close eye on. That I don't know if their best player is going to be like fully healthy.
It sucks. I would not choose Marquette here. Another manifesto point. I don't trust Shaka Smart in the tournament one iota. I don't care who they play. I do not want them going far. Sweet 16 feels like a little too much, but I am overruled here. I think Boise beats them. I'll save my Tyler Kolek slander for the next round, but we shall go on.
Slander, huh? Okay.
Ooh,
there's some good.
Nice. Yeah. All right, moving on, Blake. Who do we've got next?
I think it's me now, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
I don't even know.
I feel like I might have. I feel like I might have skipped Jamison the last time. So
it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's Purdue TCU. And I'm sorry, Blake, but Zach Edey's just gonna push you around and he's gonna shoot like 16 free throws, and you're gonna be screaming in our group text. It's gonna be like no with a bunch of O's after it, and you're gonna get really mad. TCU is gonna be scrappy enough in the first half to keep it within 5, give you just enough hope. And then you're going to hit the double bonus with like 12 minutes left to go in the second, and it's going to be ugly.
I don't know. We'll make it interesting for Bobby to be the decision maker. Whenever I saw Purdue as that 1 seed in the Midwest, I go, please, dear God, put us on the 8-9. Please, dear God, put us on the 8-9. I want to face this team. I want to beat this team. If we haven't been able to get over the hump versus an Arizona team, a Gonzaga team, some of these traditional March Madness powers that seem to do well in the regular season, but you can foil them in March, I am ready to take on Purdue. I am not scared of Zach Edey. We have no size. We have no size to pair up with them. But damn it, we can be like Fairleigh Dickinson last year and really muck up his game. I have confidence in that. I hate Jim Dixon, but for some reason I get hope around March season that he can finally push.
You're such a toxic fan. You're so toxic.
It's so bad. He needs to go. He needs to go. That's don't let my March hopeness and me seeing the actual bracket in my hands influence what I truly believe. He needs to go. He needs to be out the door. I don't care about, this is the first time TCU has made 3 NCAA tournament appearances ever in a row. Out. I want him out. We know what the preseason expectations are, and he somehow goes well below that bar. Can't win. That man is allergic to 2 digits because he cannot win 2 digits in conference games. It is always 9 wins. It is always 9 wins with him. But I think we make Zach Edey's life hell. Like, I am really excited for this game. Like, I think the loss in the first round would just devastate me, especially if Utah State goes up in there and just mucks up his game that I know we could do better. I think that might hurt me the most. It's like, I know what we can do to this little Zach Edey punk, this guy that thinks he is a 2-time. I can't believe we've gotten some bummers of National Player of the Year. It's like Oscar Tshiebwe before him, and then Zach Edey now, just some bum-ass system center winners that somehow like end up, and they're always touting, oh, college basketball, it's still the age of the big man. I don't want that. I don't want the age of the big man. The big men suck in college. I think we swarm Zach Edey. Those refs are a little light on the whistle. The Horned Frogs move on.
Blake, you said the worst thing would be Utah State, what was it, mucking it up? You know what the worst thing is going to be is the fact that you actually have hope on this one, because Zach Edey is going to win, and he's going to beat TCU in the crappiest, grindiest way possible. He's going to get to the line a billion times, and you're going to be infuriated. I just know it. It's not because any loss sucks, but having someone you despise that much just slowly lumber his way to the free throw line over and over again, flailing about. Yeah, that's good. That's gonna break you.
They run the pick and roll, and he's just spinning like a helicopter in the paint, coming off the roll, just hitting everybody down the lane and drawing fouls. I don't get it.
It's gonna happen. Purdue advances.
No, there is no way Purdue is in the Sweet 16. I can't see it. I cannot see it.
We'll see how it goes, but
Blake got Gonzaga and Kansas.
This is a good, So Gonzaga, Kansas, great matchup. This one honestly tears me a lot. I think I've said it before. I'm gonna roll with it. I think Mark Few with a team that has little expectations in March is dangerous. This Kansas team has not impressed me once this year. They have good players, but it's still, I feel like Bill Self's worst team. It's Mark Few's worst team, but it's also Bill Self's. I know Kansas has it in them because Bill Self has been able to win multiple titles now. That, we forget kind of his brand. He used to be a choker too, just like Mark Few. I think Gonzaga moves on. This one I think is going to be great. We got some great round of 32 games, but I think Gonzaga moves on. So
I feel like the health of this is where the Dickinson thing is. It really comes down to it to me, because I feel like if he's healthy, they win. If he's not, I mean it ends here. I'm going to tread on the side of caution, and go with KU here. I think the Jayhawks, just have a little bit more. I think they beat the Zags here.
He dislocated his right shoulder, not his left. So, I mean, if he's having some longer term effects of that, it's probably going to still have a little bit of pain, but it's very helpful that he's a lefty. I agree with Blake here. I'm going to pick Gonzaga. There's something about them that I feel like that they can handle Kansas. Kansas is good enough to beat Samford, even though I really like Samford's logo. It's got a very proud bulldog. He's very, very good posture. Very good posture.
This could be a double bulldog game if they win.
Yeah, but I think Gonzaga wins this one. It'll be a really, really fun one to watch, though.
God, it's going to be a great game.
Yep. All right. Who is it next? Is it me? I think it's me. All right, we got South Carolina, Creighton. It's Creighton. Don't trust South Carolina. Barely trusted them to move on.
I don't know, though. There's something weird saying that I could see South Carolina winning and be like, what the hell? How did they end up here? I don't know why. It's just something. This Creighton team. I don't know why I'm so spooked. I seriously, I've thought about picking South Carolina because I know nobody in the nation's going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. South Carolina.
Creighton. I think Creighton rolls them.
Yeah, I know.
They're so close.
I knew you weren't going to pick South Carolina. I don't know. There's just something. Why? Can you explain to me why this Creighton team is just spooking the hell out of me?
Because, Creighton traditionally just, flubs it, but then you saw last year, it's
that has to be
best. At their best, they can, they can do it.
They've always been a low expectation type of team. And it's just something about the high expectation just doesn't seem right.
It isn't. I don't know if they can handle it, but I just feel like the vibes are leading Creighton long run.
Jamison, who we got next?
Oh man, we've got Tennessee, Texas. Rick Barnes face up. I think Texas is not that good of a basketball team. They just get an extremely lucky draw with their tens. I think Tennessee absolutely rolls them. I love this Tennessee team, and I know Blake loves Dalton Connect. Man, Dalton Connect, watched him that Kentucky Tennessee game, 40 burger. That man just got a green light, and everyone's going to talk about him, but they've got great other pieces too. Like I really like Sakai Ziegler. You talk about good guards, like that's a great duo right there. I think, and how do you pronounce it, Blake? Is it I do or Adu?
I have no idea, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes, I think it's I do. But this Tennessee team that we saw them throughout the season, they kind of hung, like pretty good ranking, but I feel like no one really talked about them a lot. And then people have started to pick up, and now people are hyping up on Connect, and it's like, oh, the transfer, he just shoots a lot, but man, he's just a walking bucket. And I started to look at him a little bit more, and I'm like, damn, this Tennessee team's kind of fire. Sucks what happened in the SEC tournament, but still, like, I really like this Tennessee team. Give me Tennessee.
Tennessee all the way. I think this Texas team's fool's gold. It's Rodney Terry. I know we saw it last year, but he's going to get a few jobs, I feel like, off of his performance that year. And we talked about it in the Big 12 pod. He just steadied a ship that already had some steady pieces on it. Really wasn't that hard. I think Dalton Connect rolls. A different element to this Tennessee team, usually known for their defense. Still pretty great defense, but yeah, the points that they can pour on, it's Tennessee.
It's Adu.
Yeah. Yeah, rolling with the Vols here. Just kind of out on Texas, out on Terry a little bit. I feel like UT is a little fraudulent. Anyways, next up, Blake, who we got in the Sweet 16 East Regional?
Probably the best Sweet 16 matchup. UConn Auburn. I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
This regional being played in Boston, by the way.
Okay, so good for UConn's home field. Johnny Broom, though. Johnny Broom.
I know.
A former could be in face him in the Elite Eight from Morehead State. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Morehead State.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Let's go ahead and move on.
No. God, no. God, no.
Whoa.
Hey!
There we go.
No, you just doomed him, Bobby. How dare you? Click that button right now on the left. No, what are you doing? Just click off.
I can't click off. It won't let me click off.
Oh my God. What have you done, Bobby?
Okay. Well, we just screwed Morehead State. Anyways.
Auburn. I have a weird feeling about this team. I think they're a lot better than where they're seated. They're seated more at like the 16 to 20 mark. I think they're a little bit better. God, this hurts. Like, UConn just feels like a lock for the Final Four. How they performed in that regular season, but something's giving me weird vibes with Auburn. So I will go Auburn.
To me, UConn just feels inevitable.
Yeah,
and this
which scares me.
The location of this, I feel like Auburn. I'm not as big on Auburn as y'all are. I feel like, obviously they got hot in the SEC tournament, made a good run. I think UConn is going to come to play, and this is one of those where it is going to be a good matchup, but I could see us, I could see this being a game where it's like, oh, UConn's for real. So I'm going to go with the Huskies.
Yeah, I thought so hard on this one, picking Auburn over UConn, Blake. I've had the same thought because I really like this Auburn team. And then I come to the realization whenever I click Auburn, I'm like, well, who the hell am I going to actually confidently pick in the Final Four and championship game if UConn's not there? And then my whole identity starts to shift. I'm like, what the hell? I think this is going to be really sloppy and they could win this game. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know, but
I understand. I still haven't made that decision in my own bracket.
Yeah, I'm picking UConn, but I think that matchup right there is their toughest. That's gonna be a really, really tough one.
Oh, it could be one of those games that if UConn like repeats, that we look back and it's just like the Sweet 16 matchup was harder than even the finals matchup for them. It could be that way. Auburn's giving me spooky vibes. Like Bruce Pearl, I just always feel like can coach in March like that. It just it tears me apart. But
yeah,
I am fine with UConn going on. You kind of need it. Jamison's right. You need those certainties in March. You can have a weird side of the bracket. You can't have it all weird. You kind of just need that one seed that rolls. And like UConn it feels like that one seed, but yeah, this feels wrong. This feels wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so UConn advances. I believe it's me next. It is our Sweet 16 matchup. Morehead State and Drake. Realistically, if one of these teams got here, you would have to think Drake. So I'm going to go with Drake.
I'm so mad because I was going to continue to pick Morehead State and be really excited about it. Then Bobby had to doom them by clicking them all the way to the national championship. And after that, I don't really like it as much anymore. Give me Drake. Down goes Morehead State. I am so sorry, Morehead. Antonio Brown, we tried our hardest.
It's Drake. This is a gross. I do have Drake in the Sweet 16, but it's just they are gonna lose right then and there. Like it's a one weekend type of run.
Who's supposed to be there instead of Morehead State?
Iowa State,
or
I guess BYU.
Illinois is supposed to be there because
Illinois.
And Illinois, I feel like, is another team that has the potential to beat UConn. Like that's the other one that I go back and forth.
Nope, watch it. It's just watch Morehead State. I'm gonna be screaming. Oh man, when do they play? Please tell me.
Go.
Oh, that's a Thursday game at 3:10 Eastern. Oh, I take my board exam and I'll be coming out right then and there. I'm gonna be running. Running home.
You gotta be sprinting home for Morehead, man.
This Elite Eight, it feels like a UConn Illinois. It feels like a UConn Illinois.
No, Illinois.
And it is a shame that Illinois. What the hell is this bracket? Illinois is not getting the discussion they warrant.
Brad Underwood's gonna blow it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, blow it later on in the rounds, not to Morehead State.
Just wait.
It'd be pretty great. All right. Western Regional Sweet 16. These being played in Los Angeles. Jamison, who do you got? Who's next?
North Carolina, St. Mary's. This is another one I've sat and just internally conflicted the whole time because I've got to find a time for North Carolina to lose because I just think they're going to stumble. They're the one seed that's totally going to stumble early. St. Mary's, I like this team, but I don't know if they're set out to beat a team with the talent of North Carolina. And I'm really struggling. Everyone's already started to talk about, oh, look, Caleb Love versus Arizona and North Carolina. It's going to be a setup. Everyone keeps talking about that. I think I got to pick UNC. I don't know if I have it to pick St. Mary's, but I'm really thinking about it. I'll continue to think about it.
I have it to pick St. Mary's. Too many guys. Just too many guys. Not like maybe Ada Mahamy is probably the best of the bunch, but you're talking about 3-4 guys that are just significant contributors for them. I think I love this team. I get burned by them every year, but I just love St. Mary's. Like I said last round, don't even think North Carolina even makes it to this point. I don't think they go far, so I think St. Mary's beats them here. I think St. Mary's is probably in the Elite Eight just because they're playing Mississippi State next, but
I'm going. Me. Oh crap! I'm going St. Mary's. California school in Staples Center. I feel like UNC's been a little. No. Don't make me call it crypto.com or whatever. No, it's Staples. That barn is Staples. Anyways, St. Mary's, I think, gets the win here. Their style plays well in March, and I feel like UNC is a little overrated. So we're going to go with the Gales here.
Good for you, Bobby. Fortune favors the brave or the bold.
I see what you did there. Who do we got next, Blake?
So we have the number 2 in the nation, Arizona Wildcats, versus the Darlings, number 11, New Mexico. This one's relatively easy for me. It's New Mexico. I still think I am addicted to the guard play. I cannot get enough having 3 elite guards. Great defense, great offense. I have to imagine in the back of my head, Rick Pitino is already in New Mexico, just helping them game plan, breaking it down for them, trying to give everything to his son to will them to victory. I think it's New Mexico. I really do. I think New Mexico, yeah, it's them. It's them. So, give me New Mexico.
Do you remember what I said about Arizona's first game? When I said I thought Long Beach State, I'm picking them in my bracket. If I was picking them, why wouldn't I pick the New Mexico Lobos? We're riding with them. We're taking the pit all the way to the Elite Eight. Let's go, New Mexico.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Move on.
Let's have fun. Get weird with it.
What do you mean? Morehead State should have won on, but that would have been fun, right?
Bobby, who's in our Elite Eight just for the West, just so that. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
So the Elite Eight, the Elite Eight in the West is St. Mary's and New Mexico.
I will say, this is my Elite Eight in my bracket right now.
Ooh,
in the West.
There we go. We've had some weird ones. I feel like sometimes they get a little chalky at the end. That's a pretty weird Elite Eight right there for our standards.
No, I have a good feeling about the West. I feel like I have a pulse on it well, and I feel like this is gonna be the Elite Eight matchup.
There we go. All right, moving on to the South here. Blake, who do we got?
Houston's gonna put them in a torture chamber of hell. That's the best way to describe it. I think Duke's run ends here. Kyle Filipowski, he's great, but it just Jamal. He's good for the sport, but Jamal Shed, LJ Cryer, we haven't talked about enough just because Houston's been coasting, I think, to this point. But they play the best. I know Iowa State now holds the number 1 title of most efficient defense, but Houston's the best defense in the country. Anytime I watch one of their games and they're playing on there, they dictate the pace. It has to be Houston. It has to be Houston. I just think they're fantastic. I think Elite Eight easy. So give me the Cougs.
I completely screwed this order up because I just realized that Jamison. Yeah, Jamison, you take this one because I don't want to leave you last back to back.
That is completely fine. Yes, I think that the guards for Duke are going to squirm versus Houston, and it's going to completely just dismantle their offense. I really like Houston here.
Yeah, Houston that's the answer. I love, by the way, this is being played at the American Airlines Center. Love that they're not putting this at AT&T Stadium. Thank God. I'm glad we've gotten out of regionals and football stadiums. The Final Fours, yeah, that'll never go away, and that's fine. It's a spectacle. But the regionals, no business being in football stadiums.
I even think I wish we could pull the Final Fours out. I understand why you can't, but yeah, I don't like Final Fours in football stadiums. It's
kind of a neat thing to walk into and see. Horrible viewing experience.
That's the thing. Horrible. That's I want to at least be able to somewhat enjoy the game, and just basketball and football stadiums that's not what it's built for.
It's not even an unenjoyable experience. It was impossible to watch the Buddy Hield Final Four. Anyways, it's just bad. Next up, we've got Kentucky and Marquette. Let me be up front. Don't love this. I feel like both of these teams, I don't feel I feel like would have like trip up earlier. They just never had the opportunity. Let's go with Kentucky on this one.
I disagree. I love this Kentucky team, and I'll continue to say that out loud over and over and over. Really, really like them. I just think they've got the perfect mixture of everything that you want. I think that they're going to make a run. There's going to be some of these young guys that are going to be like, wow, this Kentucky team, a lot of them bump up their stocks. They're going to be the team that people are going to fret over and talk about for the next couple months before the NBA draft. Give me Kentucky.
I am more of a middleman here, but take it to Kentucky as well. Like I
what
said,
were you going to say about Marquette? Tell me about Marquette.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Kolek. He can't read. He can't read. It's been a well-documented fact on Big East Twitter that, like, there's a good chance that Tyler Kolek is illiterate, and, like, it got to the point where a academic counselor from Marquette had to come out and be like, Tyler Kolek is making great grades, like, he is a good student. If you're having to address those allegations, you know there's a hint of truth to it. This man cannot read.
Start? How do you know?
It is the thing on Big East Twitter. I do not know where the origin story of it, but yes, there has been significant rumors for the last 2 years that this man cannot read, and I don't know if I could take a guy that is leading this program to the Elite Eight if this man cannot read Cat in the Hat.
Are you telling me they pulled out the donkey brain certificate? You know,
it is. I know, like that's the thing, and I'm like, I feel like every Big East team knows about it. A Marquette player won like the academic like player of the year or whatever, and they're like, oh, they needed him to off balance Tyler Kolek's like inability to read. Like that's the story coming out of that award, not this guy. It's like, oh, amazing, making great grades, will become a doctor someday. No. He is the one tutoring him in the back scenes just to keep him eligible enough to play. This man cannot read. If it comes down to a late game scenario and there are X's and O's on there, he does not know the difference between an X and an O. So he will run what they think the defense is about to run. I just can't trust it.
Tyler Kolek, spell oblique. Oh.
I think it's It is a thing. I mean, I've
been looking it up on the Twitter. There's just a bunch of people clowning him, and then a bunch of people fake acting like they're reporting that this is true.
It's not fake reporting. It's true.
I've seen some people trying to act like they're big time reporters, but they actually aren't.
But February 29th, a Marquette compliance officer had to come out and say that he can actually read. Which seems like he can't read if you have to come out and try to beat those allegations. So
not great.
Why doesn't he just post a video of him reading?
I feel like Floyd
people are wondering.
Didn't Floyd Mayweather do something like that with the cat in the hat? It's 50 Cent said he would give him like millions of dollars if he could read the first chapter of a Harry Potter book, and it like cripple, and there was no response video. So Tyler Kolek, he's young, he's online, he could easily put these allegations to rest, but yet he can't figure out a way to do it. I feel like if you put it to rest, then you're like kind of acknowledging it. You know what I mean? It's a little
make fun of it and make it an NIL opportunity. Put it behind a paywall, and he gets to read a story.
But Bobby, it's the ultimate easy one. It's not like giving like, oh, like Zach Edey can't win games without fouling, and then he can like kind of win a game without fouling. But people like this is a black or white, yes or no. Can you read? Can you not? If he comes out reading, then it puts it to rest. Nobody talks about it. There's no black or there's no like sense of gray there. It's just if you come out and read. I guess you could have the conspiracy theories that is like, oh, he memorized it, but
it's AI.
Yeah, maybe you have them like choose the book, and then you can choose a book, a page, a chapter, or whatever, and he has to read it. But yes, they
just have like a random arbiter be like, I have chosen this book specifically.
Yep. Yeah. So, like, you could put this to rest, and he has not. So, yeah, I can't trust a star player that can't read.
Fair. Regardless, moving on to the Midwest in the Sweet 16. That's these games being played in Detroit. Jamison, who you got?
Give me the dew. It's time for Gonzaga's time to end. Give me Purdue.
feel a little sketchy having produced here. That I've had my fun, but now that they're here, I'm a little startled. But
what order are you doing, Bobby? If I'm going first, why are you next?
I like it. No, I like it. Just
my brain is turned to mush. I do not know what to do.
It is like
we are at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark.
I know. This is a lot of time to be talking in a row. So are
you doing the do, Blake?
Blake, are you gonna do the do?
No, I am not. I said they were going to lose to TCU last round. I guess I understand the logic from a betting perspective that everybody says Purdue can't go far. They're eventually bound to go far at some point, so maybe this is the year, but I just don't believe it. There's no way you cannot convince
Gambler's
me of that.
fallacy. Yep. Indeed.
I'm going to do
I am due. The dues are due.
See,
we're doing the do.
I don't
We're
know.
Doing the do. All right, Blake, who do you got in Creighton, Tennessee?
Creighton, Tennessee. This one's hard. Hard. I probably think the winner of this is the one coming out of this bracket. Give me Tennessee.
Yeah. Woo!
This is gross. Two coaches that can't get it done in March are going to be in the Elite Eight. Under our opinion, I don't think it's... Oh, God. It's just Dalton Connect's different. He brings a different element to a TCU...
There we go.
Not TCU. Tennessee formula that I have seen time and time again. And although it can muck things up, they can't score, but they finally have a scorer. It's not guard play. He's a forward, but he's a small forward at that. I think it's Tennessee. I think it's Tennessee. So give me... This is going to be a great game. If this happens, great game. But Tennessee moves on.
Yeah, I'm going with Rocky Top as well here.
If y'all are already catching on to some of the teams that I really like, Tennessee's one of them. Hint, hint.
Okay, good old Rocky Top. Moving on. Elite Eight time. Blake, I'll start here. We've got UConn and Drake. Sorry, Drake. UConn. It's kind of hilarious that you're here, but it's UConn. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yes,
yep,
that's correct. Yep. It's time.
We don't need to discuss it. UConn to the Final Four. Jamison, who do we got in the Western Regional?
If it's St. Mary's, New Mexico at this point, screw it. Let's go New Mexico.
Yep. Amen.
I think they continue on. I mean,
and I don't think
what a Cinderella.
It's like every gambling statistic is against teams that went on hot runs in their conference tournament to win the conference tournament. Usually don't do well in March. I think New Mexico bucks that trend. That is, out of my West region in my bracket, I have New Mexico. And I'm thinking about putting a bet on them. It's plus 2,500 for them to make the Final Four.
And that's a bad money wager. I would honestly just 25-1 on that. You really think you're going to be getting much money? I just pick them on the money line.
Money line roll. Yeah. Just roll the winnings.
Yeah.
Yep, if you feel it.
And if you get bad vibes, you can pull out.
Future markets aren't good anyways because of that. So they always give you crap odds.
25-1. That's ridiculous for an 11 seed. That's ridiculous.
I think that there's still one of and surprisingly, I thought 25-1. Is it because they're rated pretty high? No, they're still have one of the 5th or 6th worst odds. So not as much as you would think. I thought maybe because New Mexico they were misseeded, maybe it'd be a little higher. It's just I think you're right. The futures market can be just they don't try to give you good odds anymore. Gambling being legalized, everybody wants to hit the big payday, so I feel like they don't give out the good, juicy future odds anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. I think it's Blake, right? Yeah, Blake. South Regional. Who do you got coming out of Dallas?
Oh, this would be... I hope this happens, because you get offensive firepower versus defensive prowess. I have to think it'd be, close. I think Houston. It's the experience. You got the senior-laden team versus the freshman-laden team. The team that plays defense versus the one that only wants to run. The thing is, Houston's pretty good on offense, too. They ain't shabby. They're just Houston, the great thing about them, and I think will do them wonders in this tournament, is they don't play like if another team wants to run, they play their style of basketball and forces other teams. Like you kind of got to beat them in these grind out matches. That's why Iowa State does well against them, and like some of these other teams that like they kind of match styles, but clash of styles, I feel like always tips Houston's way a little bit. Like I think it always tips the scale. So gotta go the Cougars. I think they've just been fantastic this season. Like they had all the doubters, the naysayers saying, once you go to the Big 12 and can't play, you play real competition, you're not going to do well. They did the best they've ever done, in my opinion. So give me Houston.
Yeah, Houston gets it done. I think this is their time. They figure it out. They get to the final.
Boo!
I know. I know you love your Kentucky boys. They're like your perfect team too, especially a year with no like real big like NBA prospects and stuff. They hold hold 3 of the Infinity Stones of the the draft lottery this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this Kentucky team. I think they could get really hot offensively and push Houston. That's going to be a really tough game. I'd be really, really happy to see that in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, that would be a banger for sure. Jamison, who we got in the Midwest?
No, I just went last. It's you, Bobby.
Okay, sure. Sorry, my bad. Well, wait, if you... Is that right? No, I feel like
This man's doing some quick math.
If I led the last one, then it would be you the next one. And then
okay, yeah, sorry. This system is weird. Anyways, Purdue and Tennessee. Look, every year I feel like I just completely delude myself into thinking that Tennessee might make the Final Four. But this time I think it's going to work for them. Give me the Vols.
Yes, give me Tennessee. Connect, baby. Man, I love this guy.
This is insane that we had a chance of either Rick Barnes or Matt Painter going to the Final Four. I understand. I believe in Tennessee a little bit more.
They're 1 and 2.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Nope. I believe in. Surprisingly, the 1 and 2 matchups have been rarely happening lately in Elite Eights. Like it's the funny thing is it's like people, if you chose like 1-2 1-2 1-2 1-2 in the Elite Eight, that is such a statistically unlikely bracket to happen over what's currently been happening lately, that it just makes no sense to even do it that way anymore. It's like you have a better chance of a 1 and a 4, 1 and a 3 than a 1 and a 2. So just some thoughts.
Yeah. So
our
Final Four. Our Final Four, number 1 UConn, 1 seeded UConn, 11 seeded New Mexico. Then we got number 1 seed Houston, number 2 seed Tennessee. Okay, now it's Jamison's turn to go, right?
It is.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
sorry, New Mexico. Your time is done. It is now UConn moving forward. What a run. Good for New Mexico.
Yep, I am with you, Jamison. I have New Mexico in the Final Four, but UConn can match you with guard play. They can match you in the middle. They're just going to be a house of horrors. So give me the Huskies.
Yeah, UConn for sure. It's just too much. Okay, Blake, who do we have in the other Final Four matchup?
Houston, Tennessee. This one's hard. I have a feeling, I guess my whole premonition of this entire tournament is it feels a lot like the COVID year with Baylor and Gonzaga, where it felt like there were 2 teams in my mind. Granted, that year there were 2 teams. I don't think anybody in the, America was doubting it. This year, maybe a little bit. You could throw Purdue in there, UNC, even Tennessee at times. But there have been 2 teams. I never trusted Purdue in a tournament, but I do trust U of H. I do trust UConn. I think it's going to be UConn. I think UConn Houston. I think that is the final matchup right there. I would love to see Tennessee. I want Dalton Connect to get a shine. Shout out a Big Sky kind of alum. I guess he didn't graduate there, but played at NoCo before he went to Tennessee. So used to be, I can't believe that. He was all second team. He was all second team Big Sky last year, and now he was in the running for National Player of the Year.
Well, okay, Houston, Tennessee. Jamison, well, and Blake too. We grew up on Kelvin Sampson, Rick Barnes battles. We've seen some good ones. We've seen some bad ones. How could I not pick our guy Kelvin to advance to the national championship? I'm going with Houston. We're going
bummer.
with Houston to the title.
Tennessee, UConn's my my championship pick. FYI. So we almost made it.
Almost made it there, Jamison. All right, so we have our national championship set. It's UConn and Houston. Jamison? Or no, it's me. It's me. I'll get us kicked off here. First off, shout out to the American Conference. You know, you might be basically dead, and neither of these teams are in your conference, but this would have been a championship game for the ages for you. So even though it's a shell of itself with like 12 people in its conference championship game at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, you can look back on this and smile, because at one point in time this was a big deal. I'm gonna go with Houston. I think Kelvin finally gets it. I think this is going to would be a hell of a matchup, but ultimately the versatility on defense, the ability to score on offense, I think it's just going to be too much for the Cougars. I think they get this thing done in Arizona. So give me Houston.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Houston too. I'll pick Houston just because I don't want to see the Huskies going all the way down everyone's bracket. Just change it up a little bit here. What about the Shield here, Blake? Good move for the Shield.
Gotta support the Shield. Gotta go Houston if it comes to this. This would be an all-time matchup. I just feel like this would be great. This is like, if you want to see a highlight of what college basketball is and what it can be, I think UConn versus Houston would be a great national championship. One that I think is really close, one that I think would come down to the wire. Good clash of styles, but yeah, Houston, I feel like, has to get over the hump. They have to get over the hump soon. So yeah, give me Houston.
There you go. Lock it in the Cougars.
Total points for the tiebreaker. It's not going to be a lot. 130.
80.
Yeah. I feel like it would be less than at least 140.
135.
Yeah.
I like 130. 134.
Ah.
135.
Thank you.
There we go. Submit bracket.
Oh man. Oh.
They want your info, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm not gonna dox myself. That would be bad.
No, but what happens if you've got to do that. What happens if just wins?
I could go back and do it later. I don't have to do it now on stream.
It would be the funniest thing that the Schooner Pod bracket is the perfect bracket.
If we get
jack shit from it because Bobby refuses to put in his address. Instead, he would do it later. That would be an all-time feud.
After nailing a Morehead State like Drake like crazy run. Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
I know the odds are insane of a perfect bracket, but it's surprising we've never had one. It just feels like somebody would be able to have one eventually. I
tell you, boys, I feel like this is the one. It's gonna be perfect.
No, there's one thing that I have to say that is just not correct.
What's that?
And that is just as simple as that. You jinxing Morehead State, Bobby.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, you put him all the way in, and just something about that just makes me feel icky about it now.
Well, too late. They're there. They are where they are.
I'm keeping them in my bracket. So everyone join me in picking Morehead State over Illinois, and just it's going to be beautiful. They probably
Morehead State has a chance to be one of your all-time. It could come up to Lipscomb favorites if they win that first round matchup.
Morehead State. People know them for Kenneth Fareed, but now people know them for another thing.
Exactly. Well, guys, another year down, another bracket. I don't think we've ever gone. Have we ever gotten the champion right? I'm trying to remember.
I feel like no.
I think we never have. Not sure.
But I can't even tell you what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I remember more when people die on hills of bad teams advancing and then get nowhere. I remember our first year we did this was Montana, that I got on my soapbox about how Montana was going to upset Michigan, and then Michigan crushed them by 40 points.
It was a blowout. Yeah, it was a very convincing speech. I went along with it. Jamison was all.
I was out. I like that Michigan team.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see what team or what moments are special in this March Madness. And again, hey, if you want to play along, link is right there in the description. Both bio. On Lincoln, kind of Lincoln bio. It's there in the podcast forum and in YouTube. So just click it right there. I don't think you even need a password. And yeah, good luck out there on that one. So, guys, we've been recording for 2 hours, 44 minutes. There are no final words. But if you are listening still somehow and you've gotten all the way through this, thank you so much. Your support means the world to us. And you clearly are a ball knower now. After you know more about ball after this than you did before. So thank you so much for listening. That's pretty cool. So congrats on making it through the marathon, and congrats to you guys on making it through the marathon as well. Jamison, it is literally midnight for you. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. On behalf of me, Boatin Blake, and Jamison, this has been the Schooner or the Weekend Spread Bracket Challenge. We'll see you next time. We're probably going to be talking about football. I know some people probably have been missing the football talk. We'll creep back to it. But until then, have a good one, everyone. Good luck out there.